Let's see you run now, you disgusting filth. Now that you're in our hands, your fate is sealed. A man covered in tattoos sneered, stroking his beard. He continued with a wicked laugh. Hey, hey, hey! Look at that pretty little face! If you please me, I might consider selling you off later, give you a few days of freedom. The cornered girl, with her stunning red hair and piercing blue eyes, stood her ground. I would rather die today than be taken by scum like you. Suddenly, one of the thugs burst out laughing. Oh, she's a feisty one. My favorite kind. The man beside him roared with laughter. Ha ha ha, boss. You've got guts. Even the goddess of plague herself isn't off limits to you. Just then, Qin Nan arrived. Stepping up behind them, he asked, Who's the leader here? One of the thugs spun around, pointing his sword directly at Qin Nan. He sneered arrogantly. And who the hell are you? Do you have a death wish? But a hulking brute stepped forward, telling everyone to stand down. He stood before Qin Nan and declared, I'm their boss. What do you want with me? But before Qin Nan could even answer, the man suddenly lunged forward in a sneak attack, thrusting his sword. Fortunately, Qin Nan was on high alert, instantly dodging backward. He evaded the surprise attack by a hair's breadth. Without hesitation, he countered with his own blade, and the man let out a single gasp before being erased on the spot. The other bandits froze in terror. They turned to flee, screaming for their fallen leader. Boss, our boss is down. After dealing with the ringleader, Qin Nan turned his gaze to the scattering thugs. He moved without a shred of hesitation, cutting them down one by one. The girl seized this opportunity as well, unleashing her fury on the men who had tormented her. Their pathetic screams echoed as blood painted the sand. Wherever Qin Nan's blade swept, a river of blood followed. Once the last bandit fell, the girl sheathed her blade and said, Thank you for saving me. Qin Nan casually wiped the blood from his sword, replying, Don't mention it. It was just convenient. With that, he turned to leave with an air of pure indifference. The girl watched him go, hands on her hips, muttering, Hey, why is this guy so cold? Seeing that he wasn't responding, she ran after him. Hey, where are you going? Wait for me! Qin Nan then returned to where the Wei family, father and son, lay. The girl caught up and gasped in surprise. This is ... Qin Nan's brow furrowed as he looked at their still forms on the ground. The Wei family. And all the merchants of the caravan ... Your debt has been paid. Hearing this, the girl asked Qin Nan in surprise, Hey, who are they to you? For the first time, Qin Nan answered her directly. They were just some new friends. The girl's eyes widened in recognition. So, this is the Wei family caravan. A while ago, they sold us a batch of spirit ore. They agreed to trade it for food. I never imagined they'd be slaughtered by desert bandits out here. They both looked over the grim scene of bodies littering the ground. Hearing her story, Qin Nan asked, You knew them? The girl answered immediately, Yes. I was on my way to meet them. A pity I was one step too late. With a cool demeanor, she took out a small flask, tossing it to Qin Nan. This is for you. A tribute to them. Qin Nan obediently uncorked it, revealing a flask of wine. He poured its contents onto the sand, murmuring, May they rest in peace. When it was done, Qin Nan politely handed the flask back with a simple word of gratitude. Thank you. But as he did, his eyes caught a familiar object on the girl's waist. He froze, his mind reeling. A Qin family waist token. Instantly, Qin Nan's entire demeanor shifted into one of intense interrogation. He grabbed her wrist, his voice sharp. Where did you get this token? Startled by his sudden aggression, she stammered. What ... What do you think you're doing? Qin Nan's voice grew harsher. Tell me, where did you get it? Seeing his sudden, terrifying intensity, the girl quickly stepped back, raising her guard. Ari, are you insane? What does this token have to do with you? Qin Nan shot back. This is my Qin family's token. Why is it on you? Speak! Where is my father? Where are my clansmen? Hearing this, the The girl pointed her sharp blade straight at Qin Nan, her attitude flipping 180 degrees. "This is your family's token," she said, her voice dripping with rage. "I see. So you're one of those wicked villains after all." Qin Nan was completely bewildered by her words. "What did you just say? Villains?" "My Qin family was captured and brought to the western regions as slaves. How could we possibly be the villains you speak of? What nonsense is this?" The girl was just as shocked by his explanation. She questioned him again. "Your clan was enslaved. Then, ... You're really not one of those fiends." Realizing there was a deep misunderstanding, Qin Nan let out a long sigh. He lowered his sword and said, "I think you have some explaining to do." The girl, seeing this, also sheathed her weapon with a sigh of relief. "Fine. You avenged the caravan. ... So, you can't be all bad. Follow me. I'll tell you everything on the way." As they walked, the girl began to unravel the dramatic story. Pointing towards distant villages, she said, "This desert may be harsh, but it is rich with spirit or most of us in the Sha tribe are miners. We sell the ore to merchants from the southern domain to survive. Our shore people are made of many tribes, big and small, all centered around the oasis. The tribes once worked together in harmony, but half a year ago, the Black Crow tribe suddenly launched an attack on all the others. They conquered and unified the major tribes, seizing everything. They now control the mines, becoming the sole power in the western regions. And what's worse, they revived the slave trade, an evil practice that was abolished on the continent 1,000 years ago. They purchased slaves to toil away in the mines." After listening, Qin Nan turned and asked her, "Did you not fight back?" The girl's voice filled with frustration. "Of course we did. The remaining tribes fought with everything we had, but we were defeated. Most of our people were cut down by a man from the southern domain. He was the one who dropped that token during our battle. This arm of mine ... was nearly severed by his blade. His power ... is something that words cannot describe." As she spoke, an image of a colossal black vortex, pulsing with healthy red light, flashed in her mind. Qin Nan processed this information, thinking to himself, "A powerful expert from the southern domain. Could it be father? But why would he help these tyrants? Why would he aid the ruthless Black Crow tribe? It goes against everything I know of his character. He would never do something like this. It must be the Black Fang tribe. They must have taken my father's demon token," as he was lost in thought. ... The girl pointed ahead and shouted, "We're here. That's my tribe's territory. Up ahead." The moment they arrived, a young man came rushing out. "Lei, you're back so soon. Where's the merchant caravan?" The girl let out a heavy sigh and replied, "The caravan was raided by Sha Fei. Only the goods were left behind." Hearing this, the young man exploded with fury. "Damn that Sha Fei. It has to be the Black Fang tribe. They plunder, murder, and even trade slaves. There's no evil they won't commit. It was them." His gaze then turned to Qin Nan, sharp with suspicion. "Lili, who is this?" The girl quickly waved her hands and replied, "It's fine. For now, he seems to be a good person." Qin Nan couldn't help but smirk. "Lili, it seems your tribe is quite wary of outsiders." "Huh?" Lili shot back. "These are chaotic times. The Black Fang tribe could attack at any moment. We have to be on guard against everyone." Suddenly, from a nearby tent, a tiny hand emerged, startling them. An adorable little girl stumbled out, her small mouth chattering away. "Sister Lili, you're finally back. I heard your footsteps from all the way over here." Lily's face lit up with joy. She bent down, patting the girl's head fondly. "Our Kiki is truly amazing, isn't she? Here, this apple is for you." Kiki's eyes sparkled at the sight of the apple. She took it joyfully and exclaimed, "Thank you, Sister Lili. You're the best." With that, she scurried back into her tent, shouting as she went, "Mom, look. Sister Lili gave me an apple. I haven't had one long." Qin Nan was bewildered by the scene. Why is she so excited over a single apple? He wondered. Lily just sighed. If you look inside, you'll understand. Heeding her words, Qin Nan and Lily entered the tent. The sight that greeted him was devastating. The little girl was kneeling before a memorial tablet, upon which she had placed the precious apple. Staring at the heart-wrenching scene, he was utterly shocked. This is... Before he could finish, Lily explained with a heavy heart, Kiki's entire family was slaughtered by the Black Fang tribe. Now, she's all alone. To make things worse, ... Those monsters even blinded her. Suddenly, a frantic cry echoed from the watchtower. We're under attack. The enemy is here. Wooden planks splintered below as a powerfully built man with a murderous aura smashed through the wall like a rampaging deity. Lily's face went pale. It's him! The man from the Southern Domain tribe. Qin Nan stared at the muscular man, his crimson eyes blazing. He was frozen for a solid 5 seconds, only managing to stammer this ... This is... The man stood imposingly in the sunlight, his eyes as red as blood. Qin Nan choked out the word, Father. The ancestor spirit appeared, equally shocked. 5th level of the Divine Soul Realm. A cold sweat ran down Qin Nan's back. How is this possible? His mind reeled. Father's cultivation was only at the body-tempering realm before. How could his power level up so insanely fast? Impossible! Just then, the man he called his father charged forward with devastating force, sending tribal warriors flying with a single blow. 2 Black Fang tribe henchmen cheered from behind. He. The boss is incredible. This power is simply overwhelming. The ancestor warned. Those 2 behind him are likely at the 1st or 2nd level of the Divine Soul Realm. You must be extremely careful this time. Lily screamed desperately. Qin Nan, I don't care what he is to you. You have to help me stop him. He's destroying my tribe and killing my people. As Lily lunged forward, another enemy blocked her path. This one was from the Black Fang tribe, looking like a distorted werewolf. He snarled, Little girl, if you want to reach the boss, you'll have to get through us first. Lily sensed their power and grew fearful. They seem even stronger than that beast-faced Sha Fei. Seeing Qin Nan still frozen, the ancestor urged him on. Qin Nan, snap out of it. Stop them. The ancestor's voice finally pierced through his shock. At that exact moment, little Kiki ran out from her tent, asking innocently, What's that sound? What's happening? The bearded thug saw her and let out a chilling laugh. He. Look what we have here. A little rat that survived. Without another word, he charged straight for the little girl, intent on sending her to her grave. I thought we killed your whole family last time. I'm surprised you managed to live. My bloodlust has been suppressed for far too long. Hearing this, the terrified girl dropped her apple. You, ... You, stay away, she stammered. The thug acted as if Qin Nan wasn't even there, walking past him like he was thin air. The ancestor could only scream in desperation. Qin Nan! The villain loomed over the little girl with a sinister grin. Hey, your legs have gone soft, haven't they? Good. My blade is swift. You won't feel a thing. The ancestor shrieked in panic. Qin Nan! You fool! Wake up! Everyone here is about to die. But in Qin Nan's mind, his father's teachings echoed. Son, no matter how powerful you become, you must never bully the weak. You cannot become a creature of slaughter. You must become a martial artist, worthy of respect, not a demon. And Qin Nan had replied, no matter what. Anguish tore through his heart. Father, back in reality? The thug raised his blade to strike Kiki. Die! He roared. In that instant, Qin Nan broke free from his memories. He snarled his father's words, You must never bully the weak. Terrifying power erupted from him, a 6-armed demonic phantom manifesting behind him. He moved like a flash of lightning, appearing before the girl. His sword strike was infinitely faster than the enemy's blade. He bellowed, Get lost! A single, clean slash connected with the thug's neck. Blood sprayed like a fountain as he collapsed, lifeless. The remaining henchmen saw this and began to tremble at Qin Nan's ruthless speed. But Qin Nan's eyes were locked only on his father. He thought, "Father, no matter what you've become, I swear I will bring you back." Meanwhile, the other two were still clashing with Li. Seeing Qin Nan charge toward their leader like an arrow, the subordinate roared, "Stop him!" In response, Qin Nan's voice thundered across the field, "No one will stand in my way." He then unleashed the Asura blade draw, and a massive wave of sword energy sent the surrounding enemies flying. Without a moment's hesitation, Qin Nan shot straight towards his father. He screamed, "Father!" Pain and frustration churned within him. "I have no choice but to knock you unconscious and take you home." Qin Nan leaped into the air, soaring directly at his father. Seeing the attack, the man immediately retaliated. A dreadful feeling washed over Qin Nan. Something was terribly wrong. Before he could even react, his father's form grew to a monstrous size. With just one hand, he effortlessly seized Qin Nan's azure sky sword. Then, with a single flick, he hurled Qin Nan away. Gripping his own colossal blade, he charged. Qin Nan trembled as he struggled to his feet, his voice filled with guilt. "Father, I'm sorry." With those words, Qin Nan shot into the sky once more, unleashing another Asura blade draw. His father merely watched the attack with a calm, empty gaze. Then, he raised a single hand to block the blow. The ancestor, seeing him block the attack with his bare hand, cried out in shock. "He's taking the sword energy head-on. Is he insane? This is bad." At that moment, a brilliant, golden light enveloped the man's arm. The ancestor's shock deepened as he said, "He can actually condense sand into a protective armor to block his own son's most powerful strike." The ancestor continued his analysis. "At your current strength, you have no chance of injuring your father, let alone knocking him unconscious." Hearing this, Qin Nan gritted his teeth in fury. HMPH. Damn it! How can this be happening? After the fierce exchange, the entire camp lay in ruins, utterly destroyed by the members of the Black Crow tribe. Having finished their rampage, they began to laugh, mockingly. "Ha ha ha ha, pathetic! This land definitely belongs to us now." The colossal elder, leading them, finally spoke. "I'll give you 3 days to abandon this 6th continent. If you're still here after 3 days, I will slaughter every last one of you." After delivering his threat, he and his cronies arrogantly departed. The ancestor's voice boomed. "Qin Nan, go after them, now!" Obeying the command, Qin Nan glanced back at the ancestor before chasing after them without a second thought. But when he emerged from the camp, the world outside was empty. Not a single soul was in sight. His face darkened as a terrible thought crossed his mind. Has all trace of my father truly vanished on this vast continent? Seeing Qin Nan standing there in a daze, Lily cautiously approached him. "Hey, was that man really your father?" Snapping out of his despair, Qin Nan turned and roared at her. "Yes, he was. His body and appearance may have changed, but I am absolutely certain that was him. From the way he fought, it's clear he's being used by someone else. Besides, the look in his eyes was all wrong. He's definitely being controlled. That's not the man he used to be." Hearing this, Lily gasped in astonishment. He was with the people of the Black Crow tribe, acting alongside them. "It seems your father has been captured and is being controlled by them." Hearing Lily's words, Qin Nan's head whipped towards her. "The Black Crow tribe. HMP. I, Qin Nan, swear I will annihilate you all. Now, tell me where they are." Lily desperately tried to reason with him. "Even if you find them, it's hopeless. The leaders of that tribe, they all possessed an incredibly special martial art known as sand armor. This technique can block any kind of attack. You double quotes, ... 1. Single quotes T even be able to injure them, let alone kill them." Qin Nan asked, Is that the armor that looked like it was made of condensed sand? ... On my father's arm. She nodded grimly. Yes, that's the sand armor. Your most powerful attack. ... Could. And even scratch him. The Black Crow tribe has relied on this technique, along with their overwhelming might, to conquer more than half. ... Of the tribes in the entire western region. My own people can't hold out any longer. We have 3 days to evacuate this continent, or else... They will absolutely slaughter every one of us. Goodbye. And thank you for saving me before. With that, Lily turned to leave. Seeing her go, Qin Nan quickly reached out and stopped her. He asked, Are you not going to seek revenge? Is this really the only way? At his words, Lily yanked her arm free, screaming at him. Do you think I don't want to? I only recently broke through to the spirit-severing realm. Most of my tribe hasn't even reached that level of power yet. We have so many elderly and sick people with us. How can you ask me to fight a suicidal battle against the Black Crow tribe? Should I lead my people to their deaths? So tell me, what am I supposed to do? Qin Nan replied awkwardly. What about the other tribes? Haven't you tried to form an alliance? Lily answered with a bitter scoff. HMPH, they've all retreated into their shells like cowards. They've been beaten into submission. All they care about is their own survival. What a cruel joke. I called them cowards, and now I'm forced to become just like them. But retreating now is the biggest mistake you can make, Qin Nan argued firmly. If you take one step back, the Black Crow tribe will advance one step forward. Today, you surrender the 6th continent. Tomorrow, they'll demand the next territory, and the one after that. Until finally, you're cornered with nowhere left to run. Then, the only path left is death. Is that the future you want? I must protect my clan, and you must protect yours. We cannot simply retreat. No matter how strong our enemy is, they must have a weakness. Qin Nan's voice radiated with unshakable confidence. He asked, Lily, there's always a way. The solutions will always outnumber the problems, right? Lily stared at him, utterly stunned by his resolve. Do you... truly believe we can defeat them? She asked, her voice trembling. Qin Nan's reply was like steel. Of course, on my journey, I've overcome countless dangers. What's one more challenge to me? Seeing his unyielding determination, a spark of courage ignited within Lily. She smiled, nodded, and said, All right, I believe you. Then, she continued, actually, there might be one way. It's not completely hopeless. We can seek out the seer of the western region. With a new objective, Qin Nan and Lily mounted their horses, ready to depart. Before leaving, Lily turned to her people. Pack your things and leave this place, for now. Wait for me to find a solution. I swear I will reclaim our home. Her tribe responded with a unified shout. May your journey be safe. The little girl, Kiki, also called out. Sister Lily, model, you have to return safely. Lai shouted back with conviction. Yes, I promise I'll make it back alive. The tribe members waved and called out, farewell. As they traveled, Qin Nan suddenly asked, Lai, this prophet you mentioned, just how powerful is he? Lai's eyes glazed over, lost in the legend as she replied, immensely. Rumor has it he's lived for over 1,000,000 years. He knows everything. His power is absolute, and he's a master of divination. If we ask him how to break the Black Crow tribe's sand armor, he will surely know the way. Qin Nan heard this and said, Excellent. Do you know how to find him? Or do you have a map to his location? Finding one man in this vast desert won't be easy. Hearing this, Laila's expression fell as she shook her head. She replied, I don't. The prophet's existence is merely a legend, passed down through generations. No one knows his exact whereabouts. Qin Nan's temper flared as he roared.
What?
Are you kidding me? Seeing his fury, Lai frantically tried to explain. It's not that we know absolutely nothing. Everyone in the western regions knows this much. The prophet lives in the heart of the great desert, inside a giant sand vortex, but that vortex is a place of extreme peril. The quicksand is treacherous, and spirit beasts gather there. Just surviving is a challenge, let alone finding the prophet himself. Hearing this, Qin Nan simply grinned. That's good enough! At least we know for sure he's inside the Great Vortex. Let's go. Our destination is the Great Vortex. Lai stared in disbelief. Hey, you really want to go to the Great Vortex? You might not fear death, but I certainly do. Qin Nan glanced back with a smirk. Hey, if you were truly afraid, you never would have suggested finding the prophet in the first place. Let's move. Time waits for no one. Lai could only pout and mutter. HMPH. Such an unreasonable man. With that, the two of them began racing across the desert at a blinding pace. After a long journey, they finally reached the landmark known as the Great Sand Vortex. Seeing their destination, Lai called out, Qin Nan, we've arrived. This is the deadland of the western regions, ... The Great Sand Vortex. We should get down. We can leave the mounts here. They can survive a month without food. But if we ride them into the vortex, the ferocious spirit beasts inside will tear them apart in an instant. Qin Nan nodded in agreement. He leaped from his mount and said, All right, let's go on foot. This entire area is quicksand. Wow, ... A vortex. This massive. How are we supposed to even get inside? Lai sighed deeply. That I do not know. No one dares to enter, and of the few who have tried, none have ever returned. Naturally, there are no recorded methods of entry. Qin Nan looked up. Then I'll get a view from above. Qin Nan roared. Heaven-seizing steps! In an instant, he shot into the sky, the force of his ascent cratering the sand below. He hovered high in the air. ... Thinking to himself, the vortex's scale is immense. A 10-mile radius of pure quicksand. He gazed down and said, The speed and flow of this sand is incredible. The vortex's pull is unbelievably strong. If someone were to simply jump in, they'd be torn to shreds instantly. Ancestor, this vortex. ... Did it exist 1,000 years ago? The ancestor appeared beside him. What if I told you that 10,000 years ago, this very spot was an ocean? Would you believe me? Qin Nan was utterly stunned. What? 10,000 years ago, this desert was an ocean. How is that possible? The ancestor calmly stroked his beard. HMPH. Do not be so quick to disbelief. 10 millennia ago, this was the inner sea. It was teeming with spirit beasts and boundless life energy. I never would have imagined ... that 10,000 years later, it would become this desolate waste. It brings back old memories of forgotten eras and sorrows that never fade. In the blink of an eye, it became this endless desert. Qin Nan said, a borderless desert, a vortex with no entrance. So, how in the world do we get inside? Suddenly, a massive tremor shook the vortex from within. Qin Nan's eyes widened at the sound. That rumble. It's coming from beneath the ground. Before he could react, a monstrous worm erupted from the sand below. A creature of prehistoric size. Its massive jaw snapped shut, aiming straight for Qin Nan. His face went pale as he yelled, What in the heavens is that thing? The beast then spat a glob of neon green saliva, a disgusting projectile that shot directly towards Qin Nan. From below! Lai screamed in terror. Qin Nan, look out! Qin Nan twisted in midair, narrowly dodging the vile attack. As the glob of spit hit the ground, it instantly created a cloud of acrid smoke. Qin Nan watched, a cold sweat breaking out on his brow. My God! The sand itself, is being corroded by that poison. This worm is no joke. Then, planting his feet firmly in the air, he declared, I don't care if you're a dragon or a worm. you'll taste my blade first." As he spoke, Qin Nan's power exploded, manifesting the six-armed phantom of the barbarian king and unleashing the Asura blade draw. The attack slammed into the worm, causing it to writhe in agony before it thrashed about wildly. But suddenly, it recovered and lunged at Qin Nan once more. Our hero broke into another cold sweat. From a distance, Lai shouted, "Why does that worm's skin look just like the Black Crow tribe's leader? Its entire hide is protected by the sand armor. Your attacks won't be able to truly harm it." Hearing this, Qin Nan gritted his teeth in frustration. HMPH. Damn it all. This sand armor is my nemesis. Seeing Qin Nan at a loss, the ancestor reappeared with a smug grin. "Well, boy, ... run out of ideas. Have we?" Qin Nan shot him a glare. "Hey, old man, stop mocking me, unless you have a better way." The ancestor chuckled. "Back in my day, I roamed the entire Tianyan continent with just a single sword. There is nothing I haven't seen. I've even encountered this little sandworm before. 10,000 years ago, it was a colossal beast of the inner sea. Back then, its strength was merely at the peak of the spirit-severing realm. I paid it no mind. It even wanted to become my underling, but I refused the offer." Qin Nan replied dejectedly, "You might have ignored it, but I'm only at the first level of the spirit-severing realm. I'm not even a decent appetizer for this thing. And 10,000 years have passed since then. The inner sea is now a desert. This worm's power must have broken through the spirit-severing realm by now." The ancestor replied, "Indeed, this creature's power has likely reached the mortal-breaking realm. It has become a semi-mortal, a demigod-like existence." Before the two could even finish their talk, the colossal worm charged again, spitting a viscous glob at them. Qin Nan calmly dodged, asking a question as he moved. "So, how exactly does one deal with this half-god, half-mortal beast?" The ancestor replied, "If you can't overpower it, you must outwit it. Creatures like this have awakened their spiritual intelligence. You might be able to initiate a soul exchange with it." Hearing this, he asked with confusion, "A soul exchange? What is that?" The ancestor explained, "It's an ability one can use after reaching the nascent soul realm. Simply put, your consciousness can connect with another's. That is the essence of a soul exchange." Qin Nan nodded. "I understand. So I can communicate directly through our souls without speaking." The ancestor extended his hand and said, "Precisely. You could say that. Now, hurry and try it." He gave a slight nod, closed his eyes, and focused his senses. In the next moment, he found himself lost in a dark, gloomy space. As he walked forward, he saw a sphere of light, and inside it, a tiny, chibi version of the worm. He stared in astonishment. "Is this the true soul of the sandworm? This little worm, ... It's somehow both ugly and cute. To think such a contradictory creature exists in this world." Seeing Qin Nan laugh, the worm's pride was wounded, and it flared up in anger. "Mortal, you have no right to call me ugly. Now die." Instantly, a ferocious storm of lightning erupted within the consciousness space. Qin Nan broke into a cold sweat and yelled out, "Whoa! Let's talk this out. There's no need to get angry. I came here to negotiate." His words only enraged the worm further. HMPH. "A mere mortal like you is not worthy of negotiating with me." As soon as it spoke, another bolt of lightning struck down. Qin Nan took the full force of the blast, leaving him dazed. He roared in anger, "Hey, don't push your luck! Even a cornered rabbit will bite back." With that, Qin Nan summoned the phantom of an Asura. His spiritual power morphed into the shape of a true Asura war god, complete with jungle scorpion tattoos. Every inch. The legendary warrior. The worm's jaw dropped as it witnessed his transformation. "Is that ... an Asura war god?" Confused, Qin Nan scratched his head, wondering to himself, Huh? What's an Asura war god? It must be the Asura bloodline in my body, causing my soul's form to change into this war god state. The worm's attitude suddenly shifted. With tears welling in its eyes, it cried, "Are you truly the Asura war god? After 10,000 years, you finally appeared again." Qin Nan knew it must be talking about the ancestor, but he awkwardly replied, "I guessed so," he thought to himself. Looks like the old man wasn't bluffing. 10,000 years ago, this giant worm really did want to be the ancestor's subordinate. Suddenly, the worm let out a loud laugh. 10,000 years ago, you cruelly rejected me, saying I was too small and weak. But now, I have become incredibly powerful, having reached the mortal-shattering realm. But you, on the other hand, have regressed, stuck at the mere first level of the nascent soul realm. In that case, I can finally take revenge for your rejection. Hearing this, Qin Nan panicked and quickly said to the worm, "Wait, listen to my excuse." "No, listen to my explanation." And just like that, Qin Nan switched on his acting skills. He let out a few fake coughs and said, "There is something you don't know. 10,000 years ago, my power had already reached its bottleneck. I could not advance. So I cultivated a technique of breaking before rebuilding, shattering my entire cultivation base to start over from scratch. Though it looks like I've lost my original power, this method made my cultivation speed incredibly fast. It only took me 1 or 2 years to go from the body-tempering realm to the nascent soul realm. At this rate, reaching your mortal-shattering realm won't be far off. Will it?" He breathed a quiet sigh of relief, thinking, "I can only make up a story and see if it can intimidate it. Otherwise, with a grudge like that, it will definitely kill me." Seeing that Qin Nan's story sounded a bit far-fetched, the worm stared at him, examining him closely. Qin Nan's face turned pale as he thought in a panic. "I'm done for. From the looks of it, it doesn't seem to believe me. I'm dead. I'm so dead. Wait, I need to be ready to run for my life." Suddenly, the worm's eyes lit up, beaming with joy as if it had an epiphany. It exclaimed, "Oh, so that's how it is, as expected of the Asura war god, to actually break and then rebuild like that, ... I wasn't wrong about you. 10,000 years ago, you called me small and weak, but now I am a half-mortal, half-divine spirit beast. Will you reconsider and accept me as your subordinate?" Hearing this, Qin Nan broke into a sweat, blurting out in shock, "Huh, did I hear that correctly? You want to be my subordinate? But your power is leagues and leagues above mine." He clutched his face in disbelief, thinking, my story was full of holes. And it actually believed it! The giant worm was still smiling brightly. "That's no problem at all. With your supreme talent and cultivation speed, you will surpass me again very soon. If I don't ask you now, once your strength surpasses mine again, you will surely reject me once more. So, what do you think?" Qin Nan was at a complete loss. He crouched down, clutching his head. "What do I do now? Should I accept or not? In this consciousness space, only the sandworm and I can exist. The ancestor can't get in. Otherwise, I could have asked for his advice." Seeing Qin Nan hesitate, the sandworm spoke up. "Hey, you're taking a long time to answer. Don't tell me you're going to reject me again." Qin Nan jumped in fright, rushing to reassure the sandworm. "No, that's not it. I agree. You're my subordinate now." He then collapsed onto the ground in defeat, thinking, how can something like this even happen? Threatening someone into accepting you as their subordinate. This is a first for me. The giant worm heard his answer and jumped for joy, exclaiming, "This is great! I've finally secured a boss. Boss, when you make it big in the future, you have to take me with you." Qin Nan could only nod in resignation. All right, of course. I definitely will." After sealing the deal, Qin Nan and the sandworm left the consciousness space. Seeing Qin Nan reappear, Leet shouted, "Qin Nan, are you all right?" Qin Nan replied, "I'm fine. Don't worry." He then turned to the sandworm and said, Right. We came here this time to find the dessert prophet. I heard he's inside that giant vortex. You... You know how to enter this giant vortex, don't you? You seem to move through this place with ease. The sandworm's massive maw gaped open as it replied, That's right. The prophet resides at the heart of the vortex. Getting inside is incredibly simple. You just have to enter through my mouth. Qin Nan pinched his nose, recoiling from the stench. Through your mouth, he demanded. Are you telling us to walk into our own graves? The sandworm quickly replied, Master, I'm your subordinate now. I would never harm you. You have to trust me. Entering through my mouth is the only way into the great vortex. Qin Nan grumbled in frustration. Fine. It's not like we have another choice. I'll trust you just this once. With that, the worm opened its enormous, foul-smelling Go on, the beast beckoned. Lie, however, eyed the creature with deep suspicion. Qin Nan, are you really going to enter through its mouth? I feel like my intelligence is being insulted right now. Then, lie, lowered her voice. But there's no other choice. If you're worried, I can go first. I'll make sure it's safe. Then you can follow. But before she could finish, Qin Nan leaped straight into the beast's mouth without a second thought. Lie, panicked, screaming. Hey, did you really just jump in? Who's that foolish? Are you trying to become its lunch? Then, Qin Nan's voice echoed from within. Come on in. It's perfectly safe in here. Lie was stunned. Actually safe. I can't believe it. With that, Lai took the plunge as well. The sandworm's insides were coated in a thick, sticky mucus. Seeing this, she immediately asked, Is this its stomach? Are you absolutely sure this is safe? Just then, the sandworm's voice rumbled from the outside. Master, please follow the path to the very end of my gut. From there, you can enter the great vortex. As they walked, a glob of green slime dripped down onto Lai's head. She remained deeply skeptical. She turned to Qin Nan. Are you positive about this? I have a terrible feeling this creature is luring us into its stomach to be Just then, the old ancestor materialized, stroking his beard. She can rest easy, he told Qin Nan. 10,000 years ago, I peered into this creature's heart. Compared to the other spirit beasts, its soul was relatively pure, so I spared it. That is why it is so devoted to becoming my subordinate. Hearing this, Qin Nan smiled. I could also tell that this creature's heart wasn't evil. He then turned to Lai, patting his chest confidently. All right, don't be scared, he assured her. Just follow my lead. As Qin Nan quickened his pace, Lai hurriedly called out, Wait for me. And so, the two ventured deeper into the unknown. The further they went, the more the passage began to resemble a cave. After some time, Lai broke the silence. I feel like this tunnel is getting narrower. Qin Nan pointed ahead. Look there! A light! The exit must be just ahead. As they drew closer, they saw a circular exit radiating a blinding light. The sandworm's voice echoed once more, knowing they had arrived. Master, this is the exit. From here, you must jump down to reach the vortex's interior. The prophet is waiting there. Qin Nan then offered his hand to Lai. Come on, let's jump together. Lai blushed slightly, but took his hand without hesitation. Okay, she agreed. But despite promising to jump together, Qin Nan completely baited his teammate, leaving Lai behind as he leaped down alone. The moment he landed, he found himself in a cavern shimmering with 1,000 brilliant colors. Qin Nan couldn't help but let out a gasp. It's breathtaking, he exclaimed. Who would have thought such a vibrant oasis existed beneath this desolate wasteland? Lai, having followed him down, added her own thoughts. I've lived in the desert for over 15 years and never seen anything so beautiful. It's simply magnificent. Seeing her so captivated, Qin Nan spoke up. The southern domain has sights even more stunning than this. If we get the chance, I'll take you there. A bright smile lit up Lai's face. Okay, you have to promise you'll take me. Now then, ... Finding the prophet is more important. Let's get going. After walking for some time, Qin Nan finally said, "We're here." Before them stood a massive gate, flanked by two colossal stone statues. Lies, jaw dropped in awe. These stone guardians. They're enormous. Qin Nan deduced. This must be the lair of the legendary prophet. Hearing this, Lai pointed ahead, warning him, "Look, there's something strange about that statue." But before the words could even leave her lips, the stone guardian roared to life, raising its razor-sharp blade high into the air. In a treacherous, unexpected arc, it swung down directly at Li. With lightning-fast reflexes, Qin Nan drew his sword and leaped in front of her, parrying the fatal blow. At that same instant, the second statue stirred, refusing to stay idle as it charged forward, unleashing a heaven-shattering strike aimed at Qin Nan. Fortunately, he dodged the attack by a hair's breadth. He turned to Lai. These two guardians. ... We need to handle them with extreme care. With that, he leaped into the air, unleashing his signature technique, the Asura Annihilation / As the wave of energy surged forward, the two stone giants proved their might, swinging their own blades to counter. The moment the attacks collided, Qin Nan's sword key shattered into a million pieces. He was stunned. "They shattered my Asura Annihilation / Lai didn't waste a moment, swiftly maneuvering behind one of the guardians, launching a surprise attack from its blind spot. However, the stone sentinel blocked the unexpected thrust with ease. Not only that, but it casually swatted Lai away, sending her crashing into a pile of rocks with a miserable thud. Struggling to her feet, she cried out in warning, "Qin Nan, be careful! Their bodies are incredibly durable." A look of concern crossed Qin Nan's face. Brute force alone isn't going to change anything. They're of the earth element. If that's the case, then I'll have to counter them by changing my own attribute. Without a moment's hesitation, Qin Nan switched his spiritual energy to the wood element. Once more, he unleashed the Asura Annihilation / The guardian raised its blade to defend as it did before. But this time, the outcome was different. With a deafening crack, the guardian's sword held for a mere second before shattering into pieces, and behind it, the great stone door began to creak open. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoed from within. "Not bad. Not bad at all. You not only found your way here, but you also defeated my two stone guardians. Indeed, you are worthy of meeting me." Tan Nam scanned his surroundings warily and shouted, "Who are you? Stop hiding in the shadows and show yourself." The voice echoed once more. "Wasn't your purpose for coming here to find me? Follow this path to the end, and you shall have your wish." Tan Nam signaled with his hand, "Let's go." The moment they stepped inside, Leet exclaimed, "It's so dark." After venturing deeper, they saw a figure in a black cloak, seated IMPOSINGLY ... upon the main throne. Tan Nam and Leet cautiously approached. Tan Nam's voice cut through the silence. "Are you the great desert prophet?" The figure answered curtly, "I am." Tan Nam pressed on. "Then why did you send those two stone statues to ambush us earlier?" The man known as the Great Desert Prophet explained, "I sent those statues merely as a test, to see if you were worthy of an audience with me." Tan Nam was stunned by his words. "So if we had been killed by those statues, it would have proven we were unworthy to meet you," the prophet answered without a hint of hesitation. "Naturally, in fact, that you survived their assault is quite surprising to me." Hearing this, Tan Nam could no longer contain his anger. He drew his sword, its tip aimed at the old man's face, and roared, "So you intended to kill us from the very beginning?" Seeing Tan Nam's fury, the man remained arrogant, giving a cryptic reply. "Yes and no," Tan Nam bellowed. "I don't care if you're a prophet or a fraud. If you keep playing games, believe me, I will cut you down with a single strike." At that moment, the old man's expression turned serious. "I know you seek me to break the sand armor technique, and I can help you." Tan Nam's voice was grim. How do we break it? The old man began to explain. The Sandama is formed by the condensed spiritual energy of the purest earth attribute. Ordinary weapons and techniques cannot even scratch it. However, if you can use an element of equal purity that counters it, then you can naturally shatter the armor. Hearing this, Leet, who was standing nearby, spoke up. The element that counters earth is wood. But where could we possibly find the purest wood attribute? Prophet, can you help us find its location? Hearing her request, the old man's face darkened as he stated his condition. I can agree to help you. Find its purest wood attribute, but it means you must also pay a price. Qin Nan feigned surprise. Oh! And what price is that? Do tell. At this, the old man began his tale. I have clung to life for 500 years, all for the sake of breaking through from the peak of the spirit division realm to the mortal, shattering realm, to shatter the limits of a mortal and become a being half divine. But now, my lifespan is nearly at its end, and I still cannot break through that final barrier. With that, he bared a set of yellowed teeth, his tone turning menacing. Therefore, I need to absorb the life essence of one of you to grant me another 5 years of life. With 5 more years, I will surely reach the mortal shattering realm. Qin Nan seethed with rage. Upon hearing this, he waved his hand dismissively. What? Life essence. Once that's absorbed, wouldn't the person die? The old man raised his hand arrogantly, speaking as if bestowing a great favor. I can help you find the purest wood attribute. You only need to sacrifice 1 life. Is that not a worthy exchange? For 500 years, countless have begged for my help, and I have refused almost all of them. And now I agree to help you. Yet you hesitate. Do not be so ungrateful. Leet saw the rising tension. She stepped forward. Brother Qin Nan, go find the purest wood attribute to break the sand armor. I will remain here. Qin Nan immediately spun around and yelled, Have you lost your will to live? At that moment, Leet spoke with firm resolve. If I can break the Black Crow tribe's sand armor, destroy them, and bring peace to the tribes of the western regions. Then what is the sacrifice of my single life in comparison? The so-called prophet clapped his hands in approval. Exactly. 1 life, in exchange for the safety of the entire western regions, is an excellent bargain. But Qin Nan angrily told Leet, No, I cannot let you do this. I promise to show you the magnificent scenery of the southern region, and I will not break my word. There must be another way to break the sand armor. The old prophet on the side laughed. She is a woman of great vision, willing to trade her life for the western regions. But you, a man, are not only afraid to die, but you also want to hold her back. This is truly laughable. Qin Nan's face turned black with fury as he glared at the old man. He yelled, I've actually been very curious. You keep trying to lure us into giving up our life essence. What is your true motive? You said that for 500 years. Countless people have sought you out, so surely we are not the only 2 who have managed to find you. And yet, not a single one of them has ever come out alive. So I am very curious. Where did all those who sought you out go? The old man answered nonchalantly, As I said, in 500 years, you 2 are the only ones who have found me. Qin Nan immediately challenged him. Then Yuza said, That absorbing life essence can extend your lifespan, allowing you to reach the mortal shattering realm. But typically, a martial artist at the peak of the spirit division realm, has a lifespan of only 200 years, yet you have lived for 500. May I ask, where did this extended lifespan come from? The old prophet laughed loudly and said, Haven't you already guessed the answer? Hearing this, the horrifying truth seemed to dawn on Leet. She gasped in shock. 200 years is the limit. You've extended your life by 300 years. Absorbing 1 person's life essence grants you 5 years. That means you've murdered 60 people. Those 2 stone statues that attacked us, were your attempt to kill us from the start. Our survival and victory over them surprised you, didn't it? So now you've changed your tactics, trying to trick one of us into willingly giving up our life. Essence, you are a monster. You're a mass-murdering demon. What right do you have to be called the Great Desert Prophet? To be revered by everyone. The Great Desert Prophet heard his scheme exposed and roared with laughter. Ah! 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 I must admit, your intelligence is impressive. To think you managed to uncover my little secret, but that little bit of cleverness will only lead you to a gruesome death. Originally, I was planning to show some mercy and let one of you live. After all, I only need 5 more years to reach the mortal-shattering realm. However, now I've changed my mind. You will all die by my hand. Qin Nan aimed his sword directly at the old man's face and declared, HMPH. If you are so set on our deaths, ... then I will make sure you don't leave this place alive. This is the perfect chance to eliminate a scourge and avenge the 60 souls you have taken. The desert prophet stood up, laughing with utter contempt. Ha ha! How interesting. Truly interesting. Do you really believe your first-level Spirit Division Realm cultivation can withstand my peak-level power? With that, his terrifying energy erupted as he roared, Die! But Qin Nan was no pushover. His eyes flared with killing intent as his own power exploded outwards. A colossal Asura phantom instantly materialized behind his back. Qin Nan announced, I have slain even the clone of the evil lord, a master at the peak of the Spirit Division Realm. What gives you the right to stand in my way? The prophet, who was about to attack, froze in place. Qin Nan's words sent a cold sweat down his spine. His jaw dropped in disbelief. What? The evil lord's clone. You killed the evil lord's clone. He was so shocked that he stumbled backwards, steadying himself against the wall. Qin Nan replied calmly, I did. So what? No matter how arrogant the evil lord was, or how much he coveted my innate talent. Double quotes. ... In the end, he was just another soul vanquished by my sword. The desert prophet's blood ran cold as he trembled uncontrollably. No, ... impossible. This cannot be. I foresaw the evil lord's return to this world. I even foresaw his clone gathering the 10 bloodlines. But I never predicted that the clone would be slain by someone else. To think that person was you. Qin Nan smirked. Of course, it was me. For a great desert prophet, you seem to miscalculate quite often. You predicted everything, yet you failed to see that the man who killed the evil lord's clone would appear right before you. The desert prophet's tone changed instantly. All right, fine. I will help you find the method to break the sand armor, but on one condition. You must leave this place, and we shall act as if none of this ever happened. We will both go our separate ways, unharmed. He thought to himself, Asterisk, I only need another 5 years to reach the mortal shedding realm that I've dreamed of. Asterisk. Asterisk. I cannot allow any mistakes now, even if I have to bow my head to him for a moment. I absolutely cannot let my life be put in danger. Asterisk. Qin Nan gave a cold smile and said, Deal. He had his own plan. Hayempiha. It seems the news of me killing the evil lord's clone, asterisk, ... is enough to keep him in line for now. Rescuing father is the priority, so I'll play along with him. Lai Lai turned to Qin Nan with a worried look. Qin Nan. ... Even if he's intimidated because you killed the evil lord's clone, we must stay on guard. He might still try to kill us. Qin Nan reassured her. Don't worry, I know. Following their agreement, the old prophet took out a purple crystal ball. He began to chant, by the hymns of the great desert, ... Grant me the power to peer into all things. An image appeared on the crystal bowl, revealing the method to break the sand armor, hidden within a certain cave. When Lai Lai saw the lion in the image, she gasped, That lion. It's the apex beast of the desert. The red-handed sand lion. Humph. Is this what you meant by us being unharmed? That red-handed sand lion is clearly guarding the cave, and its cultivation realm. ... is even higher than yours. Telling us to find a cure in its lair is no different from sending us to our deaths. You're trying to murder us, the desert prophet argued. While I have the ability to know almost everything, ... and can help you find the method to break the curse, I cannot foresee the dangers you must face. The method is inside that cave. Whether you go or not is your decision. Qin Nan was resolute. We're going. Of course, we're going. Even if the most ferocious spirit beast on the continent, ... double quotes, ... was blocking that cave. Qin Nan would still go inside to find the cure for the sand armor. I will wipe out the Black Crow tribe so my father can be restored. With that, the old prophet gave them directions. The cave is in the Black Wind mountain range. Double quotes, ... at the northernmost edge of the desert. You may leave now. Hearing this, Qin Nan turned to Lai. There's no time to waste. Let's go. As he watched them leave, the prophet's face filled with regret as he muttered, what a pity. Such a pity. If I could have absorbed, double quotes, ... the life force from someone with an Asura bloodline, my lifespan would have increased by more than 5 years. Perhaps even 15 or 25. But if even the evil Lord's clone couldn't kill him, what chance would I have? After traveling for some time, the two arrived at a circular entrance in the sand. A golden beam of light shot upwards from it. Seeing the hole, Qin Nan called out, Sandworm, is there a fast way? Double quotes, ... for us to reach the Black Wind mountain range. The sandworm's voice boomed in reply. Of course, return to my body, and I will take you there. Without a second thought, they both leaped into the circular pit. Once inside, Qin Nan asked, so, what's your plan? Tell me. The sandworm's voice echoed from outside, filled with pride. I have lived in this desert for 1,000 years. To me, this desert is nothing more than a vast ocean. As long as I swim quickly, we can reach the Black Wind mountain range in less than an hour. Qin Nan's face lit up with satisfaction. Excellent. Just as I'd expect from my subordinate. Let's move out. With that, the sandworm began to tear through the desert at an astonishing speed. Exactly 1 hour later, they arrived at the Black Wind mountain range. The two emerged from the giant creature. The moment his feet touched the ground, Qin Nan sensed that the mountain range was devoid of life, yet it pulsed with a fierce, hidden, spiritual energy. This must be the red-handed sand lion the prophet showed us. Lai frowned with worry. That lion is the apex beast of the desert. Its strength is nearly at the mortal shedding realm. At our current level, we stand no chance against it. Hearing this, Qin Nan simply smiled and said, Little brother sandworm, I tease your time to shine. The red-handed sand lion may be close to the mortal shedding realm, but it's not there yet. You, however, are already a mortal shedding realm spirit beast. Dealing with it should be more than enough. Don't you think? The sandworm's voice boomed with arrogance. That goes without saying. With my mortal shedding realm cultivation here in this desert. Double quotes, ... If I claim to be number 2, no one else would dare claim to be number 1. Qin Nan pointed toward the mountains ahead and said excitedly, Then what are we waiting for? Go into the mountains and deal with that lion. Hearing this, Shoushang faltered. Qin Nan noticed and asked, What are you hesitating for? Aren't you supposed to be the strongest being in this desert? Shoushang put on a pitiful expression and explained to Qin Nan, I'm not afraid you'll laugh when I say this. ... While I can swim through this desert like a fish in water, every step in this solid Black Wind mountain range is a struggle. Restricted by the terrain, I might not be able to defeat that red-maned sandstone lion. Hearing this, Qin Nan patted Shoushang's shoulder to console him, but his face showed disappointment. So, You can only unleash your true power in the desert. It seems I've overestimated you. My apologies. There's no other way then. Looks like we'll have to enter the cave ourselves. Lai nodded in agreement. That's the only option. This red-maned sandstone lion may be powerful, but it must have a weakness. We'll adapt to the situation as it comes. Qin Nan then turned to Shou Shang. Go on and do your own thing. We're heading into the mountain range. Shang obediently replied, Yes, big brother. With that, the colossal worm vanished beneath the sands. The two of them began to carefully venture into the mountains. After a short distance, Qin Nan suddenly stopped in his tracks. He froze, his eyes fixed on something. He thought to himself, What is this? They both peered inside to see a gigantic lion with a brilliant red mane, fast asleep. They quickly ducked behind a large rock. Tiptoeing forward, Qin Nan accidentally kicked a small stone. He thought grimly, This is bad. The sound instantly jolted the lion awake. Without a moment's hesitation, it let out a heaven-shaking roar. It lunged straight toward the source of the noise. Its power was so immense, it vaporized a huge boulder, leaving a deep crater in its place. The lion then began to stalk toward the other rocks. It began to observe, sniffing the air. Fortunately, Qin Nan and Lai had already scrambled behind another boulder to hide. Both were still trembling from the heart-stopping encounter. They had nearly been logged out of existence. Lai couldn't help but exclaim, Heavens! This lion is terrifyingly strong! If we hadn't moved in time, we would have been crushed into dust. Humph. And isn't it your fault for being so careless? If you hadn't kicked that stone, ... How would we have been discovered? The lion was now slowly approaching the very rock they were hiding behind. Seeing this, Qin Nan's heart nearly leaped from his chest. He quickly clamped a hand over Lai's mouth and gestured for silence. The lion began to sniff the air intently. A single thought echoed in Lai's mind. We're done for. It's over. ... There's no time to run. This beast is even stronger than a Xiantian realm master. We can't possibly fight it. What do we do? Just as they were hanging by a thread, a powerful shout echoed from above. Beast, today will be the day you die. The lion whipped its head around to look up. Qin Nan wondered who it could be. It was a middle-aged man with a thick beard, standing majestically in midair. This man was Ganpo. Lai covered her mouth in shock. That's Ganpo, the leader of the Black Fang tribe. Why is he here? Qin Nan's mind raced. He's the tribe leader who has my father under his control. Could he be behind all of this? At that moment, Ganpo drew a massive blade. HMPH. My realm just had a breakthrough these past few days. You'll be the perfect test for my new blade. Without any hesitation. ... He shot towards the lion, slashing down with his weapon. The beast, enraged by the enemy's presence, retaliated with its own powerful roar. The two terrifying attacks collided with a deafening boom. The resulting shockwave was so powerful that it sent debris flying, forcing the hidden Qin Nan and Lai to shield themselves. Qin Nan thought, such immense spiritual energy. ... This Ganpo's strength is almost at the mortal shattering realm. A wave of energy from the lion's roar slammed into Ganpo. He blocked it with his bare hands. Infuriated that the beast dared to fight back, Ganpo thought, this creature has some skill. Immediately, he launched a palm strike. A gigantic golden palm materialized in the air, smashing down towards the lion. He roared, Die! The massive lion couldn't dodge in time and took the full force of the attack to its stomach. It was sent flying and knocked unconscious. Ganpo sneered. As expected of the guardian beast of the Wood Saint spirit, it holds a deep reserve of wood attribute spiritual power in its body. I'm already at the peak of the spirit division realm, yet it was still able to break through my sand armor defense. He hovered in the air for a moment, waiting for his subordinates. ... to arrive. Then, Ganpo commanded in a loud voice, Warriors of my tribe, listen. Within this cave lies a treasure of the purest wood attribute. The Wood Saint spirit It is a natural counter to our sand armor technique. If we can obtain it and harness its power, then in this entire world, ... nothing will be able to stop our attacks. We will conquer the western regions. And even conquering the Tianyan continent will be within our grasp. The men below erupted in a frenzy of excitement, chanting in unison, "Conquer the western regions. Conquer the world." Hiding behind the rock, Qin Nan was still assessing the situation. Lai Lai suddenly spoke up. "Qin Nan, what do we do now?" Qin Nan quickly formulated a plan. "While they're still caught up in their morale boost, we'll sneak into the cave ahead of them." With that said, the two of them began to creep inside. Suddenly, Gunpo whipped his head around and shouted, "Who's there?" Luckily, at that exact moment, two lion cubs let out a small cry. Gunpo saw them and turned away, muttering, "So there were two little ones as well." Then, without a hint of mercy, ... he unleashed another golden palm strike towards the two cubs. Down below, the poor little lions were struck, coughing up blood, ... and were instantly killed. Lila said with sorrow, "Those poor lions. If they hadn't appeared, we would have been the ones to die." Qin Nan urged her on. "Let's go. We have to keep moving deeper into the cave." From the air, Ganpo started giving orders. "Qin Xian, lead the elites into the cave. The rest of you, search the cave and mine for wood attribute spirit stones. I have other matters to attend to." Qin Xian was none other than Qin Nan's father. He responded to the command. "Yes, sir." Immediately, he led a group of men into the cave. Inside, countless shimmering crystals lit up the cavern walls. Lai Lai touched one of the stones. These green spirit crystals must be the wood attribute spirit stones that spirit masters search for. Seeing this, Qin Nan picked one up happily and exclaimed, "We've struck it rich. We're rich! These wood attribute spirit stones could probably sell for a great price. Or they'd be perfect for alchemy." Lian Li suddenly pointed forward. "Brother, look, there's a green light up ahead." The ancestor materialized, murmuring, "This power. It feels so familiar, as if I once fought alongside it." Qin Nan asked in surprise, "Ancestor, you feel a connection ... to this green light?" The ancestor nodded. "Yes." "Quickly, let's go see." The three of them advanced, and as they drew closer, even Lean Leet was left in awe. She gasped, "Whoa, ... this place is completely different from the desert outside." Suddenly, a colossal object materialized before them. It pulsed with an incredibly intense light. Qin Nan recognized it instantly, his voice shaking. "The wood spirit sword aren't. Why is this manual here?" Without a moment's hesitation, Qin Nan picked up the ancient tome. He opened it immediately and read the words inside. "I was once a sword venerable of this land, and stumbled upon this sacred place. The wood attribute spiritual energy here was overwhelmingly dense. I sought to cultivate here and break through the mortal realm. But alas, my talent had its limits. After reaching the peak of the divine sense realm, ... my power stagnated. With Mayan near, I poured all my life's knowledge into this wood spirit sword art, waiting for one with destiny to find it." After reading, Qin Nan muttered, "Another master at the peak of the divine sense realm, trying to break through to the mortal realm." He turned to the ancestor. "Is breaking through ... from the peak of the divine sense realm to the mortal realm the difficult." He recalled Xiaozi, controlled by the evil venerable, and the desert prophet, the crimson-handed sand demon guarding this cave, Ganpo of the Black Crow tribe. All of them were masters at the peak of the divine sense realm. The only mortal realm being was the sandworm, a creature who was already at the divine sense realm 10,000 years ago. The ancestor's voice turned grave. "Reaching the mortal realm is 1,000,000 times harder than you can imagine. This sky-profound continent is bound by an invisible law that suppresses a warrior's cultivation. The vast majority can only ever reach the peak of the divine sense realm. Since ancient times, countless warriors have cultivated for a lifetime. only to be stopped at that final step, dying with a heart full of regret. Hearing this, Qin Nan asked, "Ancestor, what was your cultivation level when you were alive? Did you ever break through to the mortal realm?" A proud smirk spread across the ancestor's face. He chuckled. "But of course, I was a peerless genius of the sword path, blessed with the Asura bloodline. Breaking into the mortal realm was a simple matter for me." Qin Nan was confused. If the continent has a law that suppresses cultivation, then how could you and the sandworm successfully break through? The ancestor explained, "That is something you wouldn't know. While this invisible law suppresses most warriors, there are always heaven-defying geniuses who can fight against it with their own power, ultimately shattering its restrictions, breaking through to the transcendent realm, a stage where they could obliterate a city, or even tear a rift in space itself. To the common folk, such power was godlike. Is nothing short of godhood." After listening to the explanation, Qin Nan asked, "So, reaching the mortal realm means becoming a god?" The ancestor shook his head. "No. Reaching the mortal realm is merely the first step on the path to godhood. The road is long and arduous. However, once you become a god, you will command the power of heaven and earth. Nothing in this world, not even the universe itself, can bind you any longer. You will be truly free, unbound, and untethered." After this enlightening talk, Qin Nan felt a wave of emotion. "I have faced so many trials on this path. I thought I had made great progress. But after hearing your words, I realize I am nothing but a tiny ant in this vast world." Seeing his spirit falter, the ancestor clapped his shoulder and laughed. "Don't lose heart. Cultivate diligently, one step at a time. Forget the mortal realm, even the god realm. Is a destination you can reach one day." These words of encouragement reignited Qin Nan's confidence. He declared, "I understand. I, Qin Nan, will definitely become a god. I will become the heaven-defying divine sword, roaming the universe, free from all shackles." The ancestor roared with laughter. Hey, good. Such ambition! Now that is the descendant of the Qin family that I can be proud of. Qin Nan quickly changed the subject, turning back to the tome. "This sword art. Do I absorb it to enhance the power of my Asura sword art, just like before?" The ancestor replied instantly. "Of course. This wood spirit sword art was created by a peak divine sense realm master. I glanced at it earlier. I can confirm it's at least a mystic grade treasure. Absorbing it will increase the power of your Asura sword art by 50%. Hurry up and begin." But just then, from outside the oasis, the members of the Black Crow tribe had ventured deep into the cave. Hearing noises, their leader shouted, "Who's in there?" Lean Leet panicked. "It's over. The Black Crow tribe found us. In this open space, we're dead for sure. They'll spot us immediately. We haven't found the pure wood attribute treasure. We're no match for your father." Qin Nan's mind raced, and an idea struck him. "I've got it. Back in the spirit ruins, I found a treasure. A single grain of sand I haven't used yet. It contains its own pocket dimension. We can hide inside it. Besides, it will take at least 3 days for me to absorb the wood spirit sword art. Hiding in there is the perfect solution." With that, Qin Nan pulled out a tiny grain of sand and chanted an incantation. "One flower, one world, one blade of grass, one paradise, one grain of sand, one realm of bliss, one leaf, one enlightened soul." As Qin Nan finished, the grain of sand opened a spatial rift. Lean Leet's jaw dropped. You have something this incredible." Qin Nan replied smugly, "Naturally, I have many things that would surprise you." Without another word, he stepped through the portal first. The other two followed close behind. The portal then vanished, and the grain of sand fell silently to the ground. Once they stepped through, a vast world of lush green grass and towering trees appeared before them. Faced with such a breathtaking view, Lian Leet exclaimed. Heavens! This is magnificent. Qin Nan pointed ahead. Let's check it out over there. But as they walked, he felt an immense pull from the ground. He muttered, the gravity in this sand grains dimension is unbelievable. Even at the first level of the divine sense realm, I'm struggling just to lift my feet. Lila nodded. Her voice strained. Qin Nan, I can hardly lift my feet. The gravity in this place is crushing. The ancestor then appeared to explain, boy, this sand grain bloodline space is defined by its extreme gravity. Training here will temper your physical body like nothing else. If you can completely adapt to this pressure and move around freely, your cultivation might even reach the peak of the Soul Division realm. The peak stage. Qin Nan's eyes blazed with excitement. You mean, just by adapting to the gravity, I can reach the peak of the Soul Division realm? That sounds way too easy. Seeing his confidence, the ancestor just chuckled darkly. HMPH. It seems you're severely underestimating the true force of this gravity. Boy, why don't you try walk into that Bodhi tree up ahead? I'll wager that, with your current power, you won't last 5 steps before your spiritual energy is completely drained. But Qin Nan just boasted with unwavering confidence. What's so difficult about that? He then took his first step, counting under his breath. 1, 2, 3 steps. But on the third, Qin Nan's knees buckled. Damn it! This gravity, it's far heavier than I ever imagined, he thought grimly. Just 3 steps, and my physical stamina is already gone. From now on, I have to use my spiritual energy just to move. With immense effort, Qin Nan pushed forward. 4 steps. 5 steps. The ancestor laughed heartily at the sight. Hey! A little better than I expected. You actually managed to pass the 5-step mark. I guess you're not as weak as I thought. Though his face was drenched in sweat. Qin Nan replied with defiant pride. Humph. I can still go on. Refusing to submit to the crushing pressure, Qin Nan forced himself forward, counting each agonizing step. 6, 7, 8. By the 10th step, he was gasping for breath, sweat pouring down like a waterfall. He fell to his knees, utterly spent. The ancestor's smug voice echoed, What's the matter? Tired already? Is your spiritual energy completely drained? Now go on, take a look, and see how far you still are from that Bodhi tree. Qin Nan lifted his head, and his jaw dropped in utter disbelief. Heavens, how can it still be so far away? It's as if I haven't moved an inch. Behind him, Lila collapsed after just a few steps, calling out his name, weakly. Your strength is so much greater than mine. I used up all my spiritual energy after only 4 steps. Though he was gasping for air, Qin Nan mustered the strength to encourage her. We have to push on, we have to reach that Bodhi tree. A long time later, under the very same tree, Qin Nan was sprawled out on the ground. He let out a deep sigh of relief. Success. After 3 whole days, I finally reached the Bodhi tree. Lai, equally exhausted, collapsed beside him. Qin Nan, it took you 3 days to reach the tree. I fear it might take me another 3. He just smiled and replied, Don't worry, I'll be here absorbing the wood spirit sword art. By the time I'm finished, I'm sure you'll have made it. All right, I've recovered a bit of my spiritual ki now. It's time to begin absorbing this wood spirit sword art. Using his spiritual sense, Qin Nan committed the entire text to memory. 3 days later, he opened his eyes. He raised his blade, a confident smirk on his face. The wood spirit sword art is completely mine now. It's time to test the might of my Asura sword art. With those words, he swung his sword. A massive wave of sword ki erupted forward. Everywhere, the energy passed. The very earth was ripped apart. Witnessing this, Lila murmured in awe. A strike with that much power. I doubt even 10 of me could withstand it. The ancestor stroked his beard, pleased. This power, it has a glimmer of my own might from back in the day. Now, check your cultivation realm. Haven't you had a breakthrough? Qin Nan blinked in surprise. Huh? My cultivation. It's already at the 3rd level of the Soul Division realm. How did this happen so quickly? The ancestor began his explanation. When you first entered this space, you could barely manage 10 steps. But now, look at you. You made it all the way to this Bodhi tree. This alone is a testament to your progress. Furthermore, in this domain of extreme gravity, every single step you take consumes an enormous amount of spiritual energy from within your core. The path you took to this tree forced you through a cycle of depleting and regenerating your spiritual energy hundreds of times over. This provides immense training for your Danchan's ability to convert and circulate spiritual energy. For any cultivator, the Danchan is paramount. Once your Danchan becomes powerful enough, your cultivation realm will naturally ascend with it. Qin Nan nodded in understanding. So that's how it works. No wonder Ancestor once told me, if I could completely adapt to the extreme gravity in this sand-grain space, I would eventually be able to move with complete freedom, and my strength would naturally soar to the peak of the Soul Division realm. It seems you weren't lying to me after all. Hearing this, the ancestor's temper flared. He rapped Qin Nan on the head. You brat. How dare you doubt me? I am your ancestor. Why would I ever deceive you? Just as he was getting another knock on the head, Lai ran over. She announced with excitement. Qin Nan, my strength has improved too. I've reached the 2nd level of the Soul Division realm. He turned to her with a smile. Excellent! Next, we'll continue training by running. Once we master that, we'll move on to jumping. If we progress, we'll definitely be able to move freely within this space. Hearing his logic, Lai readily agreed. All right then, let's get started. And so, they both got into a runner's stance. But Qin Nan decided to play dirty, taking off without a starting signal. Instantly, he felt an overwhelming pressure. Slammed down on his entire body. In the next moment, Qin Nan was eating dirt. After that failed attempt at a head start, he was left stunned and utterly humiliated. Qin Nan felt completely helpless. He sat on the ground and groaned. I can't believe running is this difficult here. I only managed a single step. And my spiritual energy is already gone. Instantly, the ancestor appeared like a sage guide, explaining that this was only natural. Running and walking are two vastly different things. When you walk, you focus power mainly in your legs, but when you run, it's a full-body exertion. Nearly every muscle in your body is forced to engage. This immense thirst for spiritual power surged through his body. With newfound clarity, Qin Nan rose to his feet, his eyes ablaze with resolve. I have to get stronger and fast. I will save my father, and then I'll eliminate the puppet master pulling his strings. But just as he spoke, Qin Nan poured every last ounce of strength into his legs, only for reality to slap him in the face as he stumbled once more. Even so, the young warrior's spirit refused to be crushed. He rose from where he fell. His dark eyes burned with unyielding resolve. As he took his stance once again, he prepared for another grueling sprint. Watching this display, Lai couldn't help but feel a surge of admiration. To push himself this hard for the one he loves. That kind of life-or-death resolve. I must learn from him to better myself and protect my own people. With newfound determination, she began to run, chasing after him. The ancestor watching from the side could only chuckle. Ah, to be young again. That boundless energy brings back fond memories. Meanwhile, outside the cave, Qin Nan's father, Qin Zhu, commanded a group of disciples, excavating the area with the fervor of a construction crew. Suddenly, a soldier burst onto the scene, his face etched with urgency. General, we've discovered a hidden passage at the far end of the cave. A powerful surge of wood-attribute spiritual energy is emanating from within. We sent a scouting party to investigate, but we've lost all contact. I fear the worst. Before the soldier could finish, Qin Zhu cut him off. Take me there, now. The group ventured deep into the cavern, where a mysterious doorway stood before them. One of the men pointed. "General, this is it." Suddenly, an ear-splitting shriek erupted from the doorway. The weaker soldiers buckled, breaking out in a cold sweat under the pressure. The guide stammered in terror. What is that sound? How can it be so powerful? But Qin remained perfectly calm. He simply pointed forward and commanded, "You will follow me. We're going in." Back inside the grain of sand's dimension, Qin Nan and Lai were collapsed on the ground, completely exhausted and gasping for air. Qin Nan was the first to speak. We finally completed a full lap. My cultivation has reached the 4th level of the Soul Division realm. The ancestor materialized once more, stroking his beard with a knowing look. To break through 3 minor realms in such a short period of time, ... double quotes, ... is undoubtedly thanks to our Qin family's ancestral Asura bloodline. I recall my own youth. I too experienced a series of rapid breakthroughs. My power shook the entire continent, and I became known as the Sword God. Seeing the old man was about to go on a long tangent, Qin Nan quickly cut in. My strength has improved enough, for now. I have enough power to face the Black Crow tribe. It's time to find the legendary, pure Saint Spirit Wood. Lai also got to her feet, her expression brimming with newfound confidence. That's right. My cultivation has reached the 3rd level of the Soul Division realm. I can finally be of help to you now. Qin Nan smiled. Excellent. Let's head out. In the next instant, they both exited the grain of sand's dimension. Qin Nan immediately scanned his surroundings. Good. The coast is clear. Let's move out from here. With that, the two of them shot forward like arrows. Lai couldn't hide her astonishment. How are we moving so quickly? Your speed, ... It's increased dramatically. Qin Nan felt the change as well. I can feel it, too. We're several times faster than before we entered the dimension. It must be the result of training under that immense gravitational pressure. Lai clenched her fists. Now, I feel confident enough to face your father. Suddenly, Qin Nan detected movement up ahead. Someone's coming. Let's hide. It was the warriors of the Black Crow tribe. Lai's face filled with worry. It looks like they've taken over the entire cave. How are we going to get through? A confident smirk spread across Qin Nan's face. Now that we've powered up, it's the perfect time to test our new abilities. With a grin, he yelled, Hey, let's do this. The two of them charged out from their hiding spot. Qin Nan couldn't resist a taunt. Hey, you little brats. Your grandpa has arrived. Let me give you a little present. But instead of being intimidated, the Black Crow warriors became even more ferocious. One of them roared, Come on, brothers. Grab your weapons and kill these invaders. We'll feed their corpses to the dogs. Without a moment's hesitation, Qin Nan unleashed his Asura blade drawing slash. Not to be outdone, Lai executed her shadow kill technique. The two powers merged, creating a terrifying wave of spiritual energy that surged toward the Black Crow tribe. When the dust from that single attack settled, only the bodies of the minions remained scattered on the ground. They had all been wiped out in an instant. Qin Nan commented with a smug grin, Looks like our training paid off. Fighting these Black Crow grunts is like swatting flies. Lai smiled grimly beside him. They're getting exactly what they gave my people. I'll repay them for everything. Suddenly, a bright torch flared up in the distance. Another soldier came running, breathless with panic. General, it's terrible. All of our miners. They've been slaughtered by intruders. The tribe leader was stunned by the news. What? All of them were killed. Could a rival tribe have discovered our operation here? But Qin remained composed. Our primary objective is to find the Saint Spirit Wood. Everything else is irrelevant. A soldier hesitated, but Qin cut him off sharply. There are no buts. The tribe leader's command is absolute. Who dares to defy it? Cowed by Qin's powerful aura, the soldier quickly bowed his head. No one, sir? With that, Qin led his men deeper into the cave. Move out, one of the soldiers shouted. General, there's a light ahead. Qinzu urged them on. Faster. As they entered the next chamber, a breathtaking scene unfolded before them. A colossal azure dragon lay sleeping, its presence radiating immense power. The tribe leader gasped in awe. The Saint Spirit Wood, one of the younger warriors, acting faster than he could think. Immediately, charged forward shouting at the top of his lungs. The tribe leader promised a great reward to whoever secures the Saint Spirit Wood. The glory will be mine. Charge. But after just a few steps, he stopped dead in his tracks. His face went pale as a terrifying realization dawned on him. He had stepped into a patch of sinking earth. Within seconds, he was swallowed almost completely, screaming for his life. Help me! Witnessing this, Qinzu could only shout in frustration. You fool. The commotion woke the azure dragon. Its eyes snapped open, and it unleashed a torrent of fire. The tribe leader cried out in alarm. This is bad. The azure dragon has awakened. Qinzu gripped his massive broadsword, his expression turning grim. This dragon's power, is even greater than my own. It's comparable to the red-handed serpent outside the cave, and it counters our wood attribute techniques. We must be extremely cautious. As he spoke, the colossal azure dragon began to rise to its feet. A soldier cried out in terror. It's looking right at us. What do we do? If we charge, the quicksand will devour us. Qin Siwei immediately devised a plan. The ground beneath the dragon is unstable. We'll use the cave walls to leap across. With that, he led by example, clearing the chasm in a single bound. The green dragon saw Qin Siwei closing in and whipped its massive tail. The attack was too swift to dodge, sending him flying into the stone wall. Seeing this, the other men tried to follow suit. Hurry, we'll use the cliffs just like the general and slay this beast. But the dragon had already begun to gather its energy. It unleashed a colossal beam of green energy, and the charging soldiers could only scream as they were utterly vaporized. Outside, Qin Nan and Lili witnessed the entire brutal scene. Lili grew anxious. Heavens! That dragon is far too powerful. It must be a peak-level divided spirit realm beast. It kills martial artists of that caliber in an instant. Just like the red-handed serpent master we faced before. Will your father be all right? Qin Nan's brow furrowed. The situation is unclear. That's why I have to go see for myself. And with that, he rushed into the cave. Inside, despite the heavy blow, Qin Siwei was back on his feet, his power flaring with rage. You wretched worm, you dared to injure me. He stomped his foot and launched himself forward once more. The green dragon, angered by his resilience, fired a powerful blast from its mouth. The beam shot straight for him. Lili screamed from outside. This is bad. Your father has no leverage in midair. He can't possibly escape the green dragon's attack. Just then, Qin Nan focused his power, activating the heaven-seizing tomb technique. As the attack neared, Qin Siwei raised his saber to defend. As the two forces collided, a protective layer enveloped Qin Siwei. Qin Nan yelled in surprise. Sand armor. When the dragon's blast finally faded, Qin Siwei stood completely unharmed as the shield around him dissipated. His face darkened. Now, it's my turn. Without a moment's hesitation, Qin Siwei unleashed a devastating slash in retaliation, striking the green dragon directly. The beast roared in agony as one of its majestic horns was cleanly severed. Qin Siwei declared triumphantly, while it's wounded, the Saint Spirit Wood is mine. But Qin Nan, watching from the side, thought, I'm sorry, father, but I am the one who must obtain the Saint Spirit Wood. He used a lightning-fast movement technique, arriving before his father to claim the prize. Enraged by this, Qin Siwei launched a vicious kick straight at his son's chest. Don't even think about it. The blow landed hard, and blood spewed from Qin Nan's mouth. An ant like you dares to stand in my way, Qin Siwei roared. Just then, the recovering dragon turned to attack him again. He instantly activated the sand armor to block the attack. But now, Qin Nan was filled with fury. He summoned the savage ghost, and unleashed the Asura's reaping slash. The blade cut through the air, severing the green dragon's remaining horn. After executing the move, Qin Nan was nearly drained of his strength and collapsed to his knees. Qin Nan's father was also injured from blocking the dragon's assault, coughing heavily as his expression turned grim. Qin Nan thought, "Hemph. Father, when this is all over, I promise I will take you home." Without hesitating, he reached for the Saint's spirit wood, and it instantly merged into his arm. The power spread throughout his entire body, causing Qin Nan to scream in agonizing pain. Just then, Qin Siwei struggled to his feet, his face twisting with rage at the sight. He instantly teleported behind Qin Nan, bringing his sword down for a killing blow. "Die for me." But a large saber intercepted the strike. It was Li. She screamed, "Are you insane? That's your own son." Hearing her words, Qin Siwei froze, stepping back in a daze. In that moment, Qin Nan finished absorbing the Saint's spirit wood. He let out a mighty roar as an immense wave of spiritual pressure radiated outwards. Lily gasped. "This spiritual power is unbelievable!" The ancestor's voice echoed. "Qin Nan, you lucky brat. This Saint's spirit wood is the very bloodline of the Dawn ancestor from 10,000 years ago. After his passing, his legacy and bloodline were lost in this place. For you to stumble upon it now. This is one of the 10 great bloodlines. By absorbing it, you will instantly leap to realms, reaching the 5th stage of the divided spirit realm." His breakthrough complete, Qin Nan raised his heaven-splitting sword. The green dragon trembled before his overwhelming aura, but he just spoke coldly, "Perish." He swung his sword in a single, clean arc. The green dragon's head flew from its body, officially logging out of this world. Qin Nan himself was stunned by the one-hit kill. Why was the green dragon ... so terrified of me? The ancestor explained, "The Saint Spirit Wood is the origin of all wood elemental power in this world. It is only natural that a wood attribute green dragon would be paralyzed with fear before its master." Suddenly, Qin Siwei charged forward to attack again. "Look out!" Lily cried. Qin Nan spoke softly. "Father, ... My apologies." He then unleashed the Asura's reaping slash. Qin Siwei put every ounce of strength into his defense, but his saber shattered on impact. The protective sand armor was also pierced, and he was sent flying into the cavern wall. Lily cheered. He finally broke through the sand armor. As Qin Siwei emerged from the rubble, Lily asked with a worried voice, Did you just kill your own father?" The man let out a cry before his body shrank, and he fell unconscious. Qin Nan replied, "I held back. My father is merely unconscious for now. I once promised I would bring you home to Wenjin City." He then walked over and lifted his father onto his shoulder. Lily urged him, "Qin Nan, we have to leave this place. Quickly." The leader of the Black Crow tribe, Gan Pa, has surely sensed this disturbance by now. At your current realm, you are still no match for him. He turned back. "All right, let's get out of here together." In another place, the old prophet of the great desert began to laugh like a complete madman. "Ha ha 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 ha! The Saint Spirit Wood. 500 years I searched for it, only to be rejected by the artifact itself. Its power sealed me within a great whirlwind deep within the Earth Palace. After 500 long years, the seal has finally been lifted. I am free. I am finally free. My failure all those centuries ago taught me a valuable lesson. Only a talent born with an affinity for all 5 elements could absorb the Saint Spirit Wood without being rejected. And now I have finally found that person. And his name is Qin Nan. Ha ha! Qin Nan, you will not escape my grasp." By a stream bank, Qin Nan, Lily, and the unconscious Qin Siwei sat beside a campfire. Lily asked Qin Nan, "Now that you've rescued your father, what do you plan to do next?" He answered, "I may have given my father a pill, but the internal injuries he suffered are far from healed. For now, I must ensure he is settled and safe. Once he's taken care of, I'll join you to wipe out the Black Fang tribe. Then, I will kill Ganpo and rescue our people." Ganpo. ... He's the one who turned my father into this monstrous state. I swear, his life is forfeit. Lai spoke up. I have a way to contact my clansmen. We can bring your father to where my tribe is staying for a while. He immediately agreed. That would be perfect. Please, contact your people. We need to get my father there first. Just then, Qinzian's eyes fluttered open, calling out to Qin Nan. Seeing his father awake, Qin Nan was overjoyed. Father, you're finally awake. He couldn't stop himself from rushing forward to embrace him. His father reassured him. I'm fine. I'm fine. But why am I here? Why am I with you? I should be a slave in the snake priestess's domain. His father then turned and noticed the beautiful Lai sitting beside them, and a mischievous glint appeared in his eyes. And who is this lovely young lady? A girl this beautiful. Why is she traveling with you? Tell me, miss, does your family have land? What do your parents do? Don't be afraid. I'm just asking for my boy here. He's a bit shy. He has his flaws, but his character is second to none. Instead of overthinking it, why don't you two just get married? Hearing this, Lai's face turned beet red. Qin Nan broke out in a cold sweat. Father, what are you even saying? Back in Sword Inquiry City, you randomly tried to match me with Yun Binglan of the Cloud Smoke sect. Then you tried to pair me with the city lord's daughter, Yi. And now, you want to match me with Lady Lai. Are you that worried I'll never find a wife? Qinzian just clicked his tongue. I'm only doing this for your own good. Look at you. You never take the initiative. How will you ever get married? This is something your mother should be telling you. But she passed on too soon. So now I have to be both father and mother. This kind of talk can only come from me. Qin Nan quickly tried to change the subject. Father, you've only just woken up. Your injuries haven't fully healed. Why are you in such a hurry to talk about this? You need to focus on your recovery. But his father scoffed. HMP. The great matter of marriage cannot be delayed by a single moment. Seeing the father-son duo's act, Lai couldn't help but let out a small laugh. Qin Nan turned to her. What are you laughing at? Lai replied. Uncle Qin, you don't need to worry so much. With his looks, Qin Nan is actually quite popular with the girls. Hearing this, his father beamed. Well now, my boy, it seems you're even more popular than I thought. And I can tell this Lai girl really likes you. Not bad. Not bad at all. You're finally showing a bit of my style from back in the day. Qin Nan was exasperated. Can you please be serious? His father straightened up. All right. So, what's the plan? He answered. I intend to take you back to the southern domain first. Then, Lady Lai and I will join forces to destroy the leader of the Black Fang tribe and rescue our Qin clan members. His father declared. The Black Fang's snake priestess was the one who controlled my mind. That leader, Ganpo, merely used a secret art to enhance my strength. He forced me to commit those evil acts. So, I must do something to atone for the wrongs I've done. Let me help you. But Qin Nan immediately stopped him. Father, you're gravely injured. You must return to Sword Inquiry City to recuperate. Lai quickly agreed. That's right, Uncle Qin. Qin Nan paid a heavy price to save you. You're still seriously hurt. If something were to happen to you, Qin Nan would blame himself forever. His father thought for a moment and then nodded. You're right. In my current state, I might just be a burden. Very well. We'll stick to the plan. Qin Nan, you don't need to escort me. With my power at the 7th level of the Soul Division realm, I can make it back to the southern domain on my own. Qin Nan was still worried, but his father placed a hand on his shoulder. Relax. I'm not as weak as you think. It's settled. We will meet again in the southern domain. As he walked away, he laughed heartily. Remember to bring a daughter-in-law back with you. Qin Nan could only sigh. He's never serious. But just as he reached the doorway, Qinzian froze and suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. Qin Nan cried out in terror. Father! Both of them rushed to his side. He shook his father's body. Father, What's happening to you? The ancestor's spirit appeared. Given his current state, it seems he's been afflicted by the snake priestess's GU poison. The poison is flaring up now. He needs the antidote to be cured. Otherwise, he won't live for more than a few days. A murderous glint flashed in Qin Nan's eyes. Snake priestess, you and I cannot exist under the same sky. Lie. Do you know where she is? I must get the antidote for my father. Lai replied. The Black Fang tribe's main stronghold is north of the Great Western Desert, but the snake priestess herself rules from White Dragon City in the northwest. He stood up and told Lai, please, take good care of my father. I'm going to White Dragon City to find the cure for him. Lai worriedly said. Qin Nan, don't be reckless. The snake priestess is incredibly powerful, and she controls many other experts. But Qin Nan's mind was made up. Don't worry, I know my limits. If I can't face her head-on, I'll find another way. With that, he turned and shot into the sky. Leaving the girl below, she watched his retreating figure, still deeply concerned, and called out, Qin Nan, you must be careful. Before long, Qin Nan had arrived. A colossal fortress materialized before him. The moonlight reflected off its walls, making it resemble a great white dragon. This was White Dragon City. As he was taking in the sight, a guard spotted him and shouted, Look, what is that? The other guard quickly looked up. In a matter of seconds, he recognized the threat and roared, Intruder, we're under attack. Instantly, the guards drew their bows, aiming straight for him. The city's defenders all scrambled into battle formations. Though his enemies were as numerous as an army, he showed no fear. Instead, he charged directly towards them. He declared, I am no longer the same Qin Nan who first set foot in the Western Desert. I have now reached the 5th level of the Soul Division realm, ... and possess the Holy Spirit Wood, one of the 10 great bloodlines. Do you think a mob of common soldiers can possibly stop me? Seeing this, the commander ordered his men to fire. In an instant, the soldiers unleashed a volley of arrows at him. A storm of arrows flew towards him, but he merely scoffed. Too slow. He moved with astonishing speed, faster than light, creating countless afterimages in his wake, making it impossible for a single arrow to find its mark. Witnessing such a feat, the commander broke out in a cold sweat. How could anyone possibly dodge that? But that wasn't enough. He unleashed his ultimate technique, the Asura Blade Draw. Seeing this, the men desperately raised their shields. But those pathetic defenses stood no chance against his overwhelming power. In mere seconds, their shields shattered into fragments. The grunts were sent flying before they could even react, letting out Oni whimpers of pain. With a single, decisive slash, the entire guard force lay defeated. Seeing his men annihilated, the commander knew he had to call for backup. This man's power is on another level. I must inform the priestess at once. To stall for time, he commanded the remaining soldiers. You lot, stop him! Hearing the order, they obediently offered their insignificant lives to his blade. The commander fled, as if a demon was on his heels, screaming, This is a disaster. A total disaster. Inside the main hall, a red-haired woman calmly sipped her wine and asked, What's all the commotion about? The commander bowed low. Priestess. A young man has fought his way into the city. The guards at the outer gate were no match for him. The woman smiled, intrigued. So, Qinzi's son has arrived already. This is beyond my expectations. I thought he'd be held up at the gates for much longer. You see? Then, she issued a new command. Lin Shan, Hai He, it is time for you to make your move. Her two subordinates, a silver-haired elder and a brown-haired youth, acknowledged the order and flew out to confront Qin Nan. The red-haired woman bared her fangs in a wicked grin. Qin Nan, since you've come willingly to your doom, I suppose I can play with you for a bit. But she had no idea who was truly being played, because Qin Nan had already finished off the small fry. Far too weak. He leaped deeper into the city. His master's voice immediately echoed a warning. Qin Nan, be careful. Two cultivators far stronger than you are approaching at incredible speed. The warning came just in time. The two figures descended, preparing to land. Before his feet even touched the ground, the silver-haired elder unleashed a blinding sword art. Your time has come, but our hero just laughed. To display such pathetic swordplay before me is truly a joke. He countered without hesitation, unleashing a vertical wave of sword ki. A single strike was all it took to shatter the elder's attack, leaving the old man utterly stunned. What? Qin Nan's sword ki continued its surge, forcing the elder to cry out in despair. His companion was shocked, but only for a moment. He calmly unleashed a volley of throwing stars as a probing attack. But to Qin Nan, it was like swatting a fly. He dodged with ease. He thought to himself, my training in the sand grain has elevated my speed beyond measure. Now, even attacks this swift feel like they're moving in slow motion. To return the favor, he decided to show this punk what godly speed looked like. Then let me show you what happens when I truly get serious. He blurred towards the dazed youth, a single flash of his blade grazing the man's neck. He turned away with a confident smirk while his opponent stood frozen, completely unaware. Seconds later, a fountain of blood erupted from his throat. He could only choke out, impossible, before collapsing. Back in the main hall, Shigi observed through a mystical mirror, musing, interesting. I never thought you'd have this much power. Qin Nan, gazing at his reflection in the orb, she chuckled again. Next, I have a big surprise for you. Qin Nan continued his calm advance, taking in the sights. Suddenly, a massive purple magic circle materialized above him. He looked up. What is this? From within the formation, a figure clad in black began to emerge. It couldn't be. ... It was the old ghost prophet. He smiled and said, Qin Nan, long time no see. Our hero was taken aback. The prophet of the great desert. Weren't you sealed inside the great vortex? The cloaked figure let out a triumphant laugh. For that, I have you to thank, Qin Nan, for obtaining the sacred spirit wood and slaying the azure dragon. You helped me break the seal of that great vortex. Realizing he'd been used, rage flared in his chest. No wonder you told me to seize that purest holy spirit wood. It turns out, the sacred spirit wood was the very key to your seal. Once I obtained it, you were able to escape the great vortex. He replied, Precisely. I was sealed in that vortex for 500 years, but I have finally escaped. Now, I no longer need to find ways to extend my life. As long as I can obtain 50% of your talent, I can finally break through to the world-shattering realm and live for centuries more. As he spoke, his eyes turned a demonic red, his fangs bared. So you will die for me. Two beams of chaotic energy shot from his eyes. Qin Nan stood his ground. That trick again? It didn't work on me last time, and it won't work this time either. With a single swing of his sword, he easily shattered the attack. But the prophet only cackled. If you think that is my true power, then you gravely underestimate me. He stretched out his arms, creating two colossal hands of sand, commanding them to attack. The two arms with razor-sharp claws rushed forward. Qin Nan calmly swung his sword, cleaving them in. But he simply created another pair. It's useless. The sand in this desert is infinite. My sand arms can never be truly destroyed. Qin Nan was shocked, utterly bewildered. Countless sand arms now swarmed him. Even he broke a sweat. The attack speed of these arms is unreal. He barely managed to dodge them all but was hit by one arm and sent flying dozens of meters. The old man laughed maniacally. I am the master of this desert. Within this domain, no one is my opponent, Qin Nan calmly replied. Is that so? I seem to recall another creature in this desert, one far more powerful than you. The old man's face contorted with rage. Absolutely impossible. I am the lord of this desert. In the entire western region, only Qian Kunpo could possibly match me. Qin Nan smirked. Let me jog your memory. Its name is the Worm of Death, he roared. A massive tremor shook the very ground beneath them. The old man's face went pale with terror. It can't be that thing. He decided to flee, soaring into the sky. But it was too late. The sandworm had erupted from beneath the dunes. Facing his doom, the old man screamed, You beast! We were trapped in that vortex together for centuries, and now you want to kill me? The sandworm angrily replied, Because you murder people! The old man fired a desperate attack. Nonsense! Have you not devoured countless people? What right do you have to judge me? But his blow was like a free massage to the sandworm. The sandworm growled, annoyed. You kill good people? I eat bad people. That is the difference between us. It opened its massive maw and swallowed the old man whole. A few seconds later, it spat out a single, dry bone, and commented, Such a talkative pest is truly hard to digest. The sandworm had just eliminated an obstacle for him, and so Qin Nan offered his thanks. Little S.A. Thanks for the help. The sandworm shrank and replied, Boss, no need to thank me. That was merely child's play. He chuckled. Child's play. You devoured a peak divine separation realm master just like that. You're truly impressive. It was nothing special. A wicked idea sparked in our hero's mind. He cupped his chin, asking excitedly, Speaking of which, do you think you could devour a snake G in the city lord's mansion? Hearing this, the sandworm sighed in exasperation, as if it had just been given an impossible deadline. It shook its head. I can't. The city lord's mansion is like a small island in this vast sea of sand. The rock beneath it is too hard for me to break through. I'm afraid you'll have to go yourself, boss. Realizing he'd have to handle things himself, our hero nodded. Fine. I'm curious to see what tricks this Snake G has up her sleeve. Meanwhile, a certain cosmic busybody was still spectating the drama. Through a purple mirror, she observed his every single move. Seeing him standing with the sandworm, she spoke with surprise. This man can actually command the power of the sandworms. This Qin Nan truly possesses some skill. Beside her, a brown-haired girl watched the screen, asking the priestess nervously, What should we do now? Thinking she was being mocked for not taking action, the priestess immediately stood, forcing a smile to save face. What else is there to do? Obviously, we go out and meet him head-on. And just like that, she appeared before him, materializing under the scorching sun. Without so much as a greeting, she unleashed a torrent of sharp words. I never expected you to have such skill, to command even the great desert sandworm. But our hero wasn't one for pleasantries. He cut straight to the point. Snake G, hand over the antidote, and I'll grant you a quick and painless death. Hearing this, she didn't flinch. Instead, she let out a derisive snort. HMPH, a mere fifth-level brat from the divine separation realm. You've barely even grown all your hair, and you're already trying to talk tough. How amusing. With that, she licked her lips, crossing her arms to flex her power. In the divine separation realm's first stage, the first mountain level, ... Double quotes. ... Do you have any idea how easily a 9th level master like myself can crush you? Unfazed, our hero smirked right back at her. The peak of the divine separation realm. ... Did. Uneven scare me. Why would a mere 9th level like you? Don't make me laugh. His words struck a nerve. She wiped her mouth, scowling. Plenty of peak divine separation realm martial artists ... have died by my hand, and not a single one dared to speak to me with such arrogance. Seeing his reckless bravery, the ancestor sent a warning to Qin Nan. Last time, you were armed with a blood-grade sword and armor. You nearly lost your life fighting the peak level Jazi. This time, you have no external artifacts to protect you. You must proceed with extreme caution. But ignoring the advice, our hero preferred to gamble it all, replying casually, Don't worry, Unsishitor. I know my own limits. Then, without a moment's hesitation, he charged toward her. Enough of this nonsense. If you won't hand over the antidote willingly, ... then I'll beat you until you're on your knees, begging me for mercy. At this, she let out a disdainful laugh and closed her eyes. A moment later, they snapped open, flashing with a murderous glint. It was clear she intended to make this day his death anniversary. Without another word, she unleashed her full spiritual power. Brat, don't blame me for what happens next. Even our hero felt a chill, realizing this is an illusion. Instantly, giant snake heads materialized around him, each one lunging to take a piece of his flesh. He recognized them at once. 8th level divine, separation realm, giant serpents. His eyes widened, frozen for a split second by the terrifying speed of these purple beasts. Before, he immediately brandished his sword. He became a blur of steel, slashing wildly at the ravenous snakes that lunged at him like lightning. But their speed was nothing to him. Before the beasts could even taste his flesh. He had already diced them into countless pieces, perfect for a massive snake hotpot. He roared, pathetic, seeing her precious pets slaughtered. Snake G simply summoned more, but no matter how many she threw at him, he dodged and sliced through every last one, leaving none intact. But the monsters regenerated endlessly, like mushrooms after a storm. He had just looked up when 2 more were already upon him. Staring at their massive heads, he sighed in annoyance. This is endless, but no matter. He could handle them all. Swinging his sword at the slithering horde, he taunted Snake Jamid. If this is the full extent of your ability, ... He was cut off as more snakes lunged at him. He was forced to carve them to pieces before wiping his chin to continue. ... Then I must say, I'm deeply disappointed. Her brow furrowed in anger, and she forced a laugh. Oh, not wanting to let him down, she began to merge the smaller snakes. They reformed into a single, titanic monster with countless purple, octopus-like tentacles. Compared to this behemoth, our hero was as small as a single strand of hair. Its eyes glowed intensely as it bared its sharp fangs at him. If you don't like the small snakes, then how about you try this big one on for size? The moment it was formed, the serpent gathered a colossal sphere of golden energy in its mouth, and fired it directly at him, making him exclaim, "So fast!" Knowing he couldn't face that terrifying power head-on, he activated his defensive system. A green barrier of light enveloped him, a wood attribute shield. Seeing its attack blocked, the snake roared in pure frustration. The massive impact kicked up a blinding cloud of dust. As for our hero... The clash left him battered and covered in wounds. But thankfully, that one blow was enough to shatter the illusion, leaving only an enraged Snake G, who using the Asura saber to break my illusion. He was both shocked and furious. You know of the Asura bloodline, she chuckled, conjuring a strange magic in her hand as she replied, Of course, I do. The Asura bloodline is one of the 10 great ancient bloodlines, legendary for its bloodlust and destructive power. It is said that whoever gathers all 10 bloodlines can obtain the divine saber of an ancient god, becoming truly invincible. And to think the legendary Asura bloodline resides within... an ant like you. What a complete waste of heaven's gifts! As she spoke, her long, forked tongue flickered out in a sinister smile. The magic in her hand transformed... into a winding, purple sword that coiled like a snake. She declared, Your bloodline now belongs to me. With that, she swung the sword at him with immense power. Facing such strength, he had to grit his teeth, his eyes narrowing. Impressive. Not one to back down, he immediately swung his own sword to counter. Seeing this, she cackled maniacally. Ha ha ha. Is that all the power you possess? I'm going to torture you to death. Unable to stand her incessant taunting, he unleashed his ultimate technique, Asura Blade Draw. Even as the blade's energy tore through the air, the madwoman didn't bother to dodge, still laughing wildly. It turned out she had already formed a shield around herself. The sand armor. He sighed in exasperation. It was Shao Kai. Again, standing within her barrier, she smirked cunningly. I am protected by the sands. Even with the Asura bloodline, Qin Nan, you can't even scratch me. Hearing this, a chilling smirk spread across his face. Is that so? As the words left his lips, he unleashed a new bloodline, and an overwhelming emerald aura erupted around him. It was called the Sacred Spirit Wood. Seeing this, she recoiled in shock, shrieking, "You're a Sacred Spirit Wood user. You possess 2 of the 10 great ancient bloodlines at the same time." Ignoring her rambling, he drove his sword into the ground to unleash another technique. Endless Fallen Wood. The attack forced her to summon her strongest defense, the Serpent Frenzy Shield. But even that was no match for him. His spiritual energy morphed into countless leaves, as sharp as daggers, raining down from the heavens to pierce right through her sand armor. Her sand armor couldn't withstand the assault. It was pierced with countless holes before shattering into nothingness. With her frenzy shield failing, she knew defense was futile and drew her sword to fight back. Don't think these petty tricks can actually harm me. With her sand armor gone, the summoned leaves descended upon her at blinding speed. However, she managed to block most of them with her sword. By the time Qin Nan's technique ended, the snake woman was riddled with wounds, her blood forming a puddle at her feet. Seeing her tattered state, he sneered with contempt. Didn't you claim I couldn't possibly injure you? What do you have to say for yourself now? Beaten to this state and utterly humiliated by his taunt, she finally snapped. Her serpentine tongue flickered as she screamed, "I'll tear you into 100 pieces!" As she spoke, a colossal phantom of a blood serpent materialized behind her. Unfazed, he provoked her further. "TSK, what a truly disgusting form you've taken." Hearing this, she lunged toward him. "Die, for me." Not one to back down, he prepared to launch his own attack. "Then I'll let you taste the true power of the wood attribute. Supreme purity." In the next instant, a massive, multi-armed divine soul with horns on its head appeared behind him. This was the divine soul of the sacred spirit wood. The Asura immediately took hold of the sacred spirit wood, its branches intertwining with his divine soul, causing new branches to wrap around the entity. He then merged his being with his sword, and the branch in the phantom's hand also transformed into a blade, razor sharp. Without making her wait, he unleashed the uprooting Asura slash. The phantom behind him mirrored his move, launching an identical attack. Alone, his power might be manageable, but with the support of the colossal phantom, its might was amplified tenfold, creating an earth-shattering attack. It shot straight towards her. Witnessing this, she could only stand frozen, her jaw agape in disbelief. How is this possible? How can a mere 7th-level divine separation realm cultivator wield such power? Seeing the overwhelming attack, she knew she couldn't block it. She turned, intending to flee and call for backup. But the attack was faster than the speed of light. Not even her ancestors could save her now. Before she could even begin to run, she turned back to see the attack was mere inches away. With no time to escape, she could only cry out, raising her hands to the heavens in a desperate final plea. Then, the attack descended like 1,000 spears. It pierced straight through her body, sending a torrent of blood flying. She only had time to scream in agony. The attack didn't stop there. It slammed into the city, causing a massive explosion. Despite taking such a fatal blow, she was as resilient as a leech. She hadn't logged out of life just yet, and was left panting and coughing up blood. Seeing she was still clinging to life, he walked over to taunt her one last time. "My apologies. It seems I used a little too much power." He looked down at her, clutching her chest, and asked, "Where is the antidote?" Hearing this, she immediately looked up at him. Then she burst into crazed laughter. Seeing someone on the verge of death laugh like that sent a chill down his spine. "What are you laughing at?" He pressed his sword to her neck, but she continued to grin madly. An antidote. Why would you need one? Just kill me, and the GU poison afflicting your father will naturally dissolve." To be beaten so badly and still speak like this. She was truly insane. She continued, But what good will that do? In the time I've been fighting you, your father and that little girl, have already been taken away by Qin Nan. They'll die sooner or later. So what good is an antidote now? Ah. He listened to her disgusting, laughter-filled rant. He gave her one last glare. Without another word, he swung his sword, slicing cleanly through her neck. Fresh blood sprayed out, dyeing the ground red. As she was finally logged out of this world for good, her insane ramblings were over. He turned away, ignoring her corpse, and asked the old ancestor, "Why would Qian Fei capture my father and Yang Lili?" Hearing this, a magic circle appeared behind the old ancestor as he began to explain. The 10 great ancient bloodlines are ASURA... Great Freedom, Heavenly Emperor, Rakshasa, Skyburner, the 5 ancient god bloodlines, and the 5 supreme purity elemental bloodlines of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The old ancestor continued, "Qin Fa is using your father's and young Lily's lives as leverage. Naturally, he wants to force you into submission. He wants you to personally hand over your Asura and Sacred Spirit Wood bloodlines to him." Hearing this, his fists clenched in fury. "I must find Qin Fa's location now. I have to rescue my father and young Lili, even if I have to risk everything." Seeing his determination, the old ancestor gently stroked his beard. "Qin Fa's strength is not to be underestimated. Have you thought this through?" He put a hand to his chin, deep in thought. "Based on my observations back at the Black Wind Mountain Range, Qin Fei's strength is at the peak of the Divine Separation Realm at most. I've fought the evil Venerable's clone before, who is also at the peak of the Divine Separation Realm, so I have considerable combat experience. Besides, with the power of my endless falling wood technique, the Sacred Spirit Wood bloodline is more than enough to destroy the sand armor on his body, inflict serious damage." As he continued, the old ancestor offered his own insight. "You were able to defeat the evil Venerable's clone, because the clone itself was weak. But this time, you'll be facing Qin Fa's true power and realm. A true peak level Divine Separation Realm cultivator. The two are vastly different." The old ancestor placed a hand on his shoulder. "When you fought the evil Venerable's clone, you nearly lost your life. This time, against Qin Fa, you must be 10,000 times more careful." Realizing the old ancestor was right, his recklessness subsided, and he listened obediently. "Yes, I will be careful." The old ancestor then turned to look at the city. Then what should be done with the remaining soldiers of the Black Crow tribe left in the city? Without hesitating, his face turned cold as ice. He uttered a single word: slaughter. After the life-or-death battle with the Snake Woman, the city walls had crumbled. He met up with the Qin family members. "You'll stay in this city for now. After I rescue my father, I will lead you back to the southern domain." Seeing he was about to head into danger, everyone worriedly called out, "Young master, be careful." After a long trek through the scorching desert, the sandworm finally emerged. He immediately asked, "Little Shaw, do you know where Qin Fa is?" Thrilled to finally be asked, the sandworm puffed out its chest and grinned widely. "Although I can't sense his exact location, I can track his movements based on his scent." Hearing this, he was overjoyed, as if he'd just won the grand prize. "Excellent! In that case, I'm counting on you to lead the way." With that, the little worm began to use its biological radar. It sniffed the air with incredible focus. After just a few breaths, it locked onto a direction, startling the young man. On this side, guided by the little insect, they arrived at their destination in no time. A colossal stone structure stood amidst the desert. Inside, countless people were shackled, chained in long lines, and treated like beasts of burden. Among them were Qin Nan's father and Yang Lai. Seeing them move slowly, the guards roared, "Move it!" As they were being herded like dogs, someone called out, "Sister Lai Lai!" She turned, her jaw dropping, in shock. "Why are you all here? Weren't you supposed to be finding a new territory?" A blind girl looked up. "Sister Lai, we did find a new home, but then these black fangmen suddenly appeared. They captured every last one of us. Hearing this, she gritted her teeth in fury. Damn the Black Fangs. You can mess with me, but lay a hand on my people, and you've just signed your death warrant. In the blink of an eye, the shackle around her ankle shattered into pieces. Before her rage could cool, she turned and swung at a nearby guard. A devastating blow landed squarely on his head. Caught completely off guard, the man had no idea what happened. All he felt was blinding pain as he screamed, "Are you trying to die?" Without a shred of mercy, he cracked his whip across her body, forcing her to spit out a mouthful of blood. After the blow, he raised his whip again, snarling, "Disgusting red demon, who gave you the nerve to act so boldly in Black Dragon City?" Seeing the future daughter-in-law he'd worked so hard to find for his foolish son being beaten, Old Man Qin Nan's anger exploded. He used every ounce of strength he had to shatter his own chains, then launched himself forward, slamming a fist into the insolent guard's face. Die! But this guard was no pushover. Struck twice by the father and daughter-in-law duo, he went berserk, turning to unleash a vicious kick at the old man. The powerful blow sent the old man stumbling, spitting out 2 mouthfuls of blood. As for the guard, he suddenly felt a chilling gaze upon him. He turned to see Lai glaring, her eyes burning with fire. He smirked, reaching a hand toward her brilliant red hair. A person's hair is a part of their pride. Yet he grabbed it, yanking on it as if to tear it from her scalp. Lai cried out in pain, terrified of losing her beautiful hair as he dragged her forward by the head, all to flex his triumphant grin. Had enough fun, yet good. By now, her rage had hit its peak. She wanted nothing more than to log him out of existence, right here and now. Die! She gripped his hand tightly, gently prying it from her hair before warning him. "Don't you dare underestimate me!" With those words, she unleashed a devastating kick. It flew with the speed of light, aimed directly at his family jewels. Before he could even process it, his reproductive system reported a catastrophic failure. Everything was shattered, completely destroyed. A howl of despair and fury ripped from his throat. Realizing how dangerous she was up close, he flung her away, screaming, "Get lost!" Thrown hard to the ground, she cried out in pain. Meanwhile, the guard's face turned green with agony. He clutched his groin with one hand. With the other, he raised a fist. "Beat them to death! Beat them all to death for me!" Seeing their leader's tragic state, his underlings broke into a cold sweat. Unwilling to let the father and daughter-in-law off, he vented his rage on his subordinate. "Then chop off their fingers for me." Terrified of suffering the same fate as their boss, the lackeys immediately complied. "Yes, sir." Instantly, 2 men appeared from nowhere and restrained Old Man Qin Nan. The same happened to Lai, as 2 other guards rushed in to hold her down. The old man said nothing, but she thrashed and roared, "Let me go, you bastards!" A soldier raised a gleaming blade, preparing to strike. She squeezed her eyes shut, ready to accept a future without hands. Suddenly, a golden blade flash cut through the air, followed by a severed hand flying into view. She thought it was hers. But no, it belonged to the guard who was about to strike her. The soldier's face went deathly pale as he stared at his severed arm. He screamed in a mix of agony and terror. Lai had been waiting for the pain, but felt nothing. Hearing only the piercing scream, she looked up in surprise. There stood Qin Nan, making a grand entrance like a hero saving the damsel in distress. She called out in shock, "Qin Nan!" Hearing his name, he turned back with a cool, collected smile. "It's all right. I'm here now." But there was no time for a tender reunion. The soldiers raised their swords, shouting, "An enemy! Kill him!" Qin Nan turned, his eyes sweeping over the beasts, who had dared to capture and torture his future wife and father. Without hesitation, he unleashed the 8 Desolation's sword, moving like the wind to exact his revenge. His blade flashed past the necks of the soldiers. They were still dazed, clueless as to what had happened, while he already stood facing forward, not even bothering to look back. A few drops of blood dripped from his sword, trickling onto the ground. A second or two later, the entire group of soldiers collapsed, their bodies drenched in blood. The commander, who had just had his future shattered, turned pale as a ghost, nearly wetting himself. How, how is this possible? With the minions dealt with, only the leader who had bullied his family remained. Qin Nan pointed his long, sharp weapon straight at his throat, his face a mask of cold fury, like an envoy from death itself. But he still asked mercifully, "Any last words?" Knowing his time was up, the man didn't even bother begging. He just chuckled. "What's the point in killing me? Their bodies have already been poisoned by us. Without the antidote from our chief, they will die sooner or later." Seeing Qin Nan's silence, he grew bolder. "But if you kneel down right now and cut off your own fingers, I might consider putting in a good word for you with the chief." Hearing this, Qin Nan knew the man was truly insane. He closed his eyes, sighed, and casually ran the man through with a fatal strike. Impaled and pale, death closing in, the man still managed to choke out, asked ... for a few antidote pills. Qin Nan leaned in and whispered in his ear, "You thought you could threaten me?" With that, he pulled out his meter-long blade. Blood gushed from the man like a spring as he collapsed. Sent to meet his ancestors in the underworld. After dealing with the trash, he immediately turned to his father and future wife. "Father, Lai, are you two all right?" He then shattered their chains with a single strike. The old man rubbed his wrists, savoring his freedom. "Don't worry, my life is tough." Lai's eyes widened as she smiled at him. "I'm fine." Qin Nan grabbed his father's arm. "Father, has the cursed poison from the serpent demoness been cleansed?" The old man spread his hands and shook his head. "That's what's strange. I never took an antidote, but I can clearly feel that the cursed poison in my body has vanished." "What's going on?" Qin Nan replied, "I killed the serpent demon." According to her, once she died, the cursed poison in your body would be completely purged. Hearing this, the old man stroked his chin, as if suddenly enlightened. "So that's how it is." But then the old man closed his eyes and shook his head. "A pity. The ancient poison in my body had just been cured, only for Ganpa to poison me again." A grim look on his face, Qin Nan reached a hand toward the old man. "Let me see." Lai began to explain. "The moment we were captured, Ganpa used a strange martial art to poison our body." After hearing her story, he took her hand, revealing faint purple veins beneath her skin. This despicable technique again. The ancestor, who had appeared at some point, spoke up. "I've seen this poison before. It's a toxic martial art known as the heart-devouring Ji. This parasite will release toxins inside the body. The poison will flow through every meridian until it finally erupts, causing a painful death." "Is there a cure?" Qin Nan asked. The ancestor stroked his beard. "To break this curse, you must either find Ganpa and make him undo it willingly, or kill him." Without another word, Qin Nan immediately chose the second option. "To cut the weed, you must pull out the root. I'll just have to kill him." Just then, as if summoned, Ganpa himself descended from a swirl of green energy like a deity. "How wicked! It seems you're very confident." Seeing him, Lai immediately drew her sword in alarm, shouting his name, "Ganpa." Despite being outnumbered, the man stood calmly with his hands behind his back. "Why so tense?" "I merely came to see if you, Qin Nan, are truly worthy of my attention." "Not one to be outdone." Qin Nan scoffed back. "I was also wondering if you are worthy of dying by my sword." Seeing his fighting spirit, the man stroked his beard and chuckled. "Not bad. Not bad at all. A perfect 5 elements affinity, plus the Asura bloodline and the sacred spirit tree, one of the ancient bloodlines. You are indeed worth my time." Lai and her father took a battle stance, while Qin Nan pointed directly at the man's face. "You want to collect the 10 great ancient bloodlines?" At this, the man laughed as if he'd heard a hilarious joke, spreading his arms wide like an eagle. "In this world, I ask you, who doesn't wish to possess the 10 great ancient bloodlines?" Then, he raised a fist, laughing again. Once you gather all 10, you can obtain the power of the ancient gods and shatter the very limits of this world. This power not only allows a martial artist to break through the mortal shattering realm, but can even help them ascend beyond it to become a legendary god. Hearing this, Qin Nan was stunned. A god, ancestor. Is this true? The ancestor replied, indeed, it is. Beyond the mortal shattering realm lies the legendary god realm, but due to the celestial restraints of this continent, even the most gifted martial artists find it nearly impossible to break through. For a peak level, divine separation expert, even reaching the mortal shattering realm is a monumental task, let alone the mythical god realm. For tens of thousands of years on this continent, those who reach the god realm can be counted on one hand, the ancestor continued. However, just as Ganpa said, if you gather all 10 ancient bloodlines, you might truly shatter the world's shackles, reach the mortal shattering realm, and perhaps even ascend to the god realm. Qin Nan wondered aloud. Does this mean every martial artist in the world wants to possess these 10 ancient bloodlines? As they spoke, Ganpa interjected. Qin Nan, I can give you some time to think. If you are willing to offer me your 5 elements, affinity, and your 2 ancient bloodlines, I can make you my most vital subordinate. As he spoke, a sinister purple light emanated from him. Once I obtain this bloodline power, I will unify the western region, then conquer the southern, northern, and eastern regions. At that time, whether you wish to be a king or the overlord of an entire domain, it will all be possible. He looked at Qin Nan again. Your clan, your family, and your friends, they will all rise above the masses. Your family could become the #1 family on the entire continent. At this offer, Qin Nan sneered, all for the small price of gaining what others can only dream of. Huh, he scoffed. Hump, I'm afraid I'd become a spirit under your heel, long before I ever became a king. This world has always been ruled by the strong preying on the weak. The mighty survive. Do you really think I'm foolish enough to hand over my own power, just to await my execution? Qin Nan said, puffing his chest out defiantly. Seeing that words were useless, the man summoned his weapon. If you insist on walking the path of ignorance, then I won't be courteous any longer. With a flash, he manifested a blade and sent it flying straight at Qin Nan. As the blade neared his face, Qin Nan's expression remained unchanged, his gaze calm. With a simple turn of his body, he easily evaded the cheap shot. Seeing this, his opponent hurled another dagger, this time at incredible speed. But it was still nothing. Qin Nan simply leaped into the air to dodge it. He let out another taunting smirk. Is throwing daggers the only trick you know? Ganpa simply smiled back, preparing his next move. You sorely underestimate this trick. With that, he manifested a swarm of daggers that shot towards Qin Nan. The blades flew rapidly, spinning like a deadly whirlwind. Seeing this, even Qin Nan had to put in some effort to hastily dodge them all. It seemed too easy, and he wondered, what is this guy really up to? This can't be his true power. At his confusion, Ganpa just said, the real show is about to begin. As he spoke, the daggers on the ground suddenly flew into the air, slowly forming the myriad blade extreme array that surrounded Qin Nan completely. The ancestor yelled in alarm, this is bad. Qin Nan, get out of there. Qin Nan looked up to see the blades spinning furiously, unleashing a storm of phantasmal blades that forced him to desperately evade. But there were simply too many blade phantoms to dodge completely. Several grazed his arms, tearing his robes to ribbons and leaving behind shallow cuts. Wave after wave crashed down on him, leaving him no choice but to use his sword to defend. Lai cried out his name, in terror. Qin Nan, seeing him in danger, she gripped her sword and charged into the vortex-like formation, slashing at it with all her might. But the moment her blade made contact, it shattered into pieces. She stared in shock. How is this possible? Seeing this, her father charged forward. Lai, get back! Let me! With a dagger in each hand, he unleashed a flurry of blows on the formation, creating a shower of orange sparks. but Ganpa just crossed his arms and laughed. It's useless. Qin Nan has already been ground into mincemeat by my blade arrayed. Just when all hope seemed lost, a pillar of golden light erupted from within the array, shooting straight into the sky and stunning even Ganpa. Lai and the old man could only stare, their jaws hanging open in disbelief. That brilliant aura had been flaunting its power for less than 5 seconds before Confavor's radiance was completely extinguished, forcing him to watch with a deep frown, trying to comprehend what was happening. In the next moment, a cataclysmic explosion erupted as our hero unleashed his true power. A colossal pillar of golden light that utterly annihilated the entire blade formation. An Asura phantom materialized to aid the attack. Seeing this, his foe just laughed. So, this is the might of the Asura bloodline. Truly impressive. Enough talk. He raised his sword, declaring, "My turn." Instantly, he unleashed the Asura blade slashed, a killing blow aimed straight for his enemy's heart. But his foe simply conjured his sand armor to defend. This attack carries spiritual power, the hero warned. Your sand shield is useless against it. Just as he spoke, his sword Qi tore through the defense. Yet, the old man's expression remained unchanged. He stared down the incoming blast with pure confidence. A calm smirk spread across his face. To think such a legendary bloodline could be wielded so pathetically. The hero's technique simply vanished into thin air. His opponent stood there, without a single scratch, a triumphant grin plastered on his face. "Even if my sand armor can't stop your spiritual attack," he gloated, "your power is too weak to ever breach my true defense." Refusing to yield, our hero roared, "If one sword isn't enough, then I'll use another." A barrage of sword Qi shot forward, but the old man was unyielding, simply standing behind his barrier. Facing such stubbornness, the hero intensified his assault, screaming, "If that still won't break it, then take 1,000 swords." 10,000 swords. At his command, a storm of sword Qi erupted. A dense wave, like a swarming hive, crashed relentlessly against the protective shield, even as 1,000 invisible blades rained down upon him. The old man just stood there, smiling serenely, as if he were truly immortal. Our hero could only grit his teeth in pure frustration. He had poured every last ounce of his strength into this assault, and yet he couldn't even leave a scratch. To add insult to injury, the old geezer started clapping mockingly. "Impressive. Impressive. What a fiery attack. To think you could force me to manifest my true body shield, the one formed from my pure earth essence. It seems I truly underestimated you." Pouring all his power into that assault had been for nothing. Now, he was the one left exhausted, dripping with sweat. He gasped, panting. "Pure earth essence. Could it be?" Seeing him gasping for air, the old man cut him off with a wicked grin. "That's right. I, too, possess one of the 10 great ancient bloodlines, the bloodline of the Earth 5 elements. The very essence of pure earth flows through my veins." With that declaration, he and his impenetrable shield soared into the air. It was a show of absolute power. The hallmark of the pure earth essence is its unparalleled defensive might, capable of forming a perfect shield around its user. Hearing this, our heroes simply scoffed. "Have you forgotten? My bloodline possesses the wood attribute, the natural counter to your earth." The old man's face twisted with arrogance. He pointed his blade directly at our hero. "Even if you hold the counter element, you are merely at the 5th level of the divided soul realm, while I stand at its absolute peak. You cannot possibly break my defense." A single drop of cold sweat trickled down the hero's face. "We'll see about that." Wasting no time, he summoned the Holy Spirit wood. In an instant, a colossal spirit phantom manifested behind him, sword in hand. Its face radiated pure killing intent. It was ready to unleash hell upon his foe. Our hero gathered every last shred of his power, placing both hands on his sword, preparing to go all out. This would be an earth-shattering attack. He raised his blade high, spiritual energy swirling into it like a vortex. Then, he unleashed boundless falling wood. The moment the technique was cast, countless emerald leaves, each as sharp as a razor, shot forward like a volley of 1,000 arrows. But his opponent remained utterly unfazed. He simply smirked, erecting a different, purple-hued barrier. As the leaves slammed into it, they managed only to create a few hairline cracks, failing completely to break through. Seeing this, his enemy laughed in triumph. "It's useless. Your pathetic little leaves can't even get past my barrier, let alone do any real damage to me." Hearing this taunt, our hero responded with a cold smile. And what if all those leaves, ... became one? The old man's confidence faltered for a second. A bead of sweat trickled down his temple. Our hero said no more. Letting his actions speak for him, he unleashed a brand new technique. Asura sword style. 5th form. One boundless sword.